Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Soon as we step out the cage, we raising all of the stakes. Make no mistake.
The hoes are laughing?
Yep.
So the audience are a bunch of hoes.
Yep.
He dedicates 8 hours a day role-playing as a toddler.
I'm in baby mode on and off all day.
And just his daddy is caring for her.
I'm 20, but not really, because I'm 5.
Adopted mommy and daddy who are totally comfortable with me being a little girl.
I identify as an 8-year-old girl called Denise. Therefore, I am an 8-year-old girl.
There you go, folks. A little wonderful comedy for you guys to start off your night for the MCU'S Bleeding Edge.
That's Andre's ex-girlfriend in the Pocahontas video.
Well, they always say the more gorgeous they are, the more crazy they are. So that sounds about right for Andres there, huh?
After you, Cyber. After you.
Nah, I don't go that way, bro. Are you gonna populate us with your face tonight, or are you just gonna be
No, he's like Fuji from Shogun Chapter 8. He's not there. He's not there in the visual aspect.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
He's time traveling a little too much. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I'm time traveling right now. Sorry, folks. Just time traveling right now.
By the way, I'd like to share a soul with Fuji if it's possible, but in a different manner than probably the chick from Dr. Phil met.
You will have a spa day with She-Hulk faster than you will with Fuji, sir.
I'd like to have a spa day with her at She-Hulk. That could be interesting.
There you go. All right. So good evening, everyone out there watching us either on Rumble, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're watching us from. Thank you for watching and welcome to the Bleeding Edge. We're live Wednesday night, April 17th, to discuss the 8th chapter of the FX TV series Shogun, which happens to be called The Abyss of Life. That's right, The Abyss of Life. So this episode, hands down, I think this was probably the best episode so far, honestly. I was wondering, okay, Chloe Zhao is here, and I guess she must have directed this episode, maybe. Yeah, I have no idea.
That's why it was the best episode of the series.
I see, okay. I thought it was because of Captain Priest's flat ass, but I guess not. But anyways, we're discussing this episode, which I hands down, like, I was blown away by this episode, especially after the last couple episodes. I know a few on the panel had mentioned that they felt they were filler episodes. So this one really, I feel, took that kind of closure of filler episodes and gave us a new bang for a buck. So I think that this episode knocked it out of the park in that general aspect. So we, of course, have a great panel tonight. We have my co-host, Mr. Jeff S., TrueKnowledge, on the panel. How we doing, Jeff?
I'm here as usual to fucking make sure I take home the Shogun Award on the panel tonight. That is my goal. I will seppuku myself. Whatnot. If it looks tight at the end, right, with any of my competitors, I'm ready. I'll have my seppuku blade ready and everything like that. And I'll have Dodge second me with my fucking panel, right? Like my bitch spat panel, but Dodge will second me.
Good to know. Thank you. Then we also have joining us Mr. Wrath the Khan. How we doing, Wrath?
I'm doing great, Cyber. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you very much. And of course, we have returning as always, Mr. Time Cop Blackface over here. Pop culture, whatever you want to call him. And
culture guy, sir.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, well, we can't tell because you're going there, Mr. Non-Face Man. But anyways, welcome, Andres. How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good.
Good. All right, and so we also have joining us, returning is Mr. Brad from the Nerd Court Pod.
How the way around. Justin's returning. Brad is first time.
Sorry, Brad. How are we doing for being on the first time?
Doing great, Cyber. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
We got Jeff on our podcast, and I thought I had to return the favor.
Excellent. Great to have you. Always looking for new blood on the bleeding edge to take in our great shenanigans, as we like to consider on the panel here, to have some fun. So you are in for a treat, as we always like to say. And as always, like I said before, as I got mixed up, Mr. Justin is returning. How we doing, Justin?
I'm great. Thanks for having me back again. I appreciate it.
Excellent. It's great to have you back. Of course, Justin is from the Royal Geek Podcast. So if you have not checked out the Royal Geek Podcast, definitely go check it out. Great pod, I've heard. And of course, we still have Andres over here, Black Bass man. So whenever you like to join us, Andres, that'd be great.
He's working on multiple projects, sir.
Oh, is he now? He's probably working on how many times he can go non-face for this episode, I think is what he's trying to go for. Maybe he'll win the Shogun Award for no face appearance. Well, we'll see. But anyways, so we got like I said, a great episode, I feel. Really starts off strong. Just to go around the panel, get everyone's thoughts on the previous episode, since Brad was not here last week for our last episode. I'd like to go around and just get everyone's thoughts going into this episode. Where did you think he was going after the death of Toranaga's son? And were you expecting this episode to be so much telling information, as we haven't really gotten much information in the last 6 episodes at least? Each episode has a little tiny bit they like to pop out, but I feel like there was definitely ones that had a little more than others. So I just want to get your guys' thoughts going into this episode after Toranaga's son's death. Let's start with you, Justin.
Yeah, well, after the last episode, I really expected this episode to start off with like revenge and like start the war and like let's go. And I did not expect the opening that we got, and then the episode we eventually unfolded. I actually appreciated it more because it helps set up the story for what looks to be like a killer ending. But I mean, I don't want to dive too much into spoilers right now, but I'm telling you, like I was completely turned around because I was like, oh, it's a revenge episode. It's going to be like battle mode, because episode 8 in 10 episode series usually is like it starts to gear up for like a high octane episode 9. And I guess I was really thinking that it was gonna be the start of the revenge, and but we didn't get that. Instead we got some more planning and more plotting, which I was all about that for sure. So yeah, it was a great episode. You're right. It's a top tier.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. Ratha Khan, same question, sir.
So going from episode 7 to 8, I just had a thought that it's going to be calm. And when episode 8 started, I was right. It was calm. I just noticed that throughout the whole series, it's like you have periods of like, high intensity. And then suddenly you have like this very relaxing after scene or after moment. So I didn't think much about revenge because Toranaga doesn't come off as the type of person that would do revenge. But yeah.
Jason, Toranaga is the type of motherfucker who will do anything he'll have to fucking do, and he'll do any dirty fucking thing you could possibly fucking imagine to win.
Oh, okay, but he does it with grace, so you don't really see it as like a revenge type of person.
To be clear, Toranaga will do fucking anything. He'll do shit that a Shidu won't do to win.
That's true.
Right?
He does it with grace, so
he'll pillow with the Agushibi. Okay. Yeah, true.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Rathacon. Great job. Brad, same question, sir. Your thoughts going into the 7th to 8th episode?
I got to say, Toranaga is one crafty motherfucker. That's all I got to say. I wasn't really expecting a revenge because Toranaga doesn't move that way. His son moved that way. But Toranaga, he's slow, he's decisive, and he will wait. He will wait for the time to strike, and that is what we are getting in this episode. And these next 2 episodes are going to be killer.
Excellent. Thank you. Jeff, your same question, sir.
Well, I'd say basically I expected the war to at least start in episode 8, chapter 8. I did. It seemed like I didn't go into Shogun looking for the war, looking for the battle scenes. Like that wasn't the attraction to me, right? It was the overall trailers, like the overall show, like how the dynamic of it and whatnot. The time I put in researching it, whatnot, learning about the original story it's based off of, it seemed really interesting to me, right? Basically, I knew that it was going to be really adult orientated and made for adults and whatnot, and everything, and that it would be, essentially almost R-rated, right? And that's what lured me in. But I felt like there really hasn't been much action in several episodes, so I felt like we were kind of due for something to finally go down, where there was a real confrontation, where we actually got to see, some more, just to get the blood pumping a little bit with the audience, get some more of the, less of the intrigue, but some more actual battle. But instead, they decided to save it all for the end, apparently, from what I understand of what I've already seen of people talking about chapter 9 and whatnot and everything. When Crimson Sky is when that it goes off. Then, well, I'm not going to go there. I mean, I don't know, obviously, but Crimson Sky looks dope, and I never believed for 1 second in that shit at the end of episode 7 that Toranaga was actually conceding the real. I assumed that there were probably 6 or 7 different possible fucking things that were going on at that given time with Toranaga, with 7 or 8 different fucking people, and that the whole thing with his brother could have been a ruse, right? Because these people are so fucking hardcore with their culture and their traditions and whatnot and everything that, like, as we're going to talk about later in the episode, they do things and they're willing to make sacrifices and whatnot, and they're very strategic and cunning and cold at it, right? Like, yet they also weave in the strong traditional stuff like the seppuku, right? And the loyalty and whatnot and everything and all that shit. So all I know is I think that chapter 8 probably had the most seppukuing and like wanting of seppuku ever out of all the chapters. And like motherfuckers want to seppuku all the time on Shogun. You know what I'm saying? Like on every
No, Jeff, I think you're the one who wants a seppuku all the time.
No, you want a seppuku all the time.
If Fuji had been in chapter 8 for 3 seconds, in the 3 seconds she would have mentioned seppuku. Just to be clear.
Thank you, Jeff. Great job, sir. All right, so we are graced with the presence of Andres, Time Lord, Time Cop, Time Manager in here with his famous hat, as the Rathacon has mentioned. I was so happy. I was worried we were going to see, the unfortunate, wilderness man that we saw earlier, but we have gotten Mr. Andres back. So, Andres, welcome, sir, and at the same time, your thoughts going into episode 8, sir.
Sorry, I'll mute myself.
I thought you were putting on your Yabushigi loincloth.
You're funny. Oh, shut up. Jesus Christ. Anyway, feeling about episode 8. I could say it's a roller coaster, I would say. Like, you were frustrated, and then you get this huge gut in the face of a character. What was it that Jeff likes? Circuit pairing, whatnot. Which I wasn't expecting that. And then you got this ending I was very excited about, more miracle centric. And that's how I'm feeling right now with this episode. So I guess this was, definitely setting up the next final 2 episodes for Shogun, which is good. And, the great thing about the show is it's really the character development. I mean, this show is more, I think this is more character driven than plot driven. If you're expecting a lot of action, that's not the kind of show it is. It's more character driven kind of show where we're dealing with, all these characters, all this politics and all that. And I think that's the one great thing about the show is they're doing a really good job with that. So I really like this episode. I mean, again, all 7 episodes have been top quality since we've been reviewing it. So I'm excited to talk to you guys with the episode.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Awesome. All right. So, getting into episode 8 here. The episode starts off, with them moving from the fishing village back to Edo. We basically see them marching their way back to Edo. We see Toranaga. He's very unhappy. You can tell. You can see that he's upset. You can see that he's not doing well. And, that he's grieving about his son. And, we get that kind of brief, thing that he was definitely, not feeling well. You could tell, like, he was acting well enough to, like that there was something ill about him because of the death of his son. And so we get that. And as they're traveling, we have Blackthorn and Mariko have a brief conversation. Basically, she gives back his belongings that were taken when he was captured at the beginning of the series, his books and everything, and basically is told that his time served has completed his duties that he was asked to do, and that he's free to go because he is not, aligning his allegiance with them anymore after what he did in the last episode. And so, basically, Blackthorn is kind of like, what does that make of my translator? And Miriko's kind of just leaves it at, my job's done too, kind of basically, no more to it. And so then Blackthorn just rides up to Toranaga and, says in Japanese that, he's sorry for his loss. And you see Toranaga look at him, giving him the usual same look he usually gives, Blackthorn. No emotion, nothing like that, which, as we mentioned, with this episode and in previous episodes, people thinking either whether or not you believed he was succeeding or not, Toranaga is a great deceptor. And so I think that, his deception for his hatred for Blackthorn, I don't think he really hates him. I think he sees him as a ally, but he doesn't want people to know that that's how he actually feels. And so in order to keep the facade that he's not really doing anything with Blackthorn, which we find out later on in this episode that was the whole plan, that Blackthorn, there was a lot more meaning to him keeping him around than what we've seen in the previous episodes. That I think that along the line, we'll see that there's more of a relationship between them than they're showing off, even though he doesn't really reciprocate anything and keeps it like, oh, you stupid white person, basically. So, we get that scene, which was really, I thought, interesting that, Blackthorn really has shown the last couple episodes how much Japanese he has learned and how he's starting to communicate with them, and shows that I feel like he's actually showing that he wants to learn and that he's learning something from his experience over here in Japan. So I think that is kind of fun seeing Blackthorn grow in the episodes. I know in previous episodes we've had conversations about how we feel he's been very whiny and all this kind of stuff, just wants to leave and stuff like that. But I think that now that we've seen him kind of grow, we're starting to see that, even though that whining, he's learning something and is growing as a person and as this Blackthorn character. So we find out too during that conversation with Mariko and Blackthorn that that Toranaga gets 49 days of mourning for the death of his son, and that buys him 49 days before he has to go to Osaka. So another kind of little tidbit showing that, oh, he's buyed him some time again in order to contemplate and think of what he can do to rectify his situation. All right. So, okay. So then after that sequence, Gotta find my place here. We go to Ochiba and Ishido, and they are walking around the compound where they are, and they're having a conversation. And basically, they're saying that, Toranaga has given up and that he is surrendering, and that, she should be happy for this. And she's not. She's like, he's got those 49 days of mourning for his son. So we still don't have him. He's still a threat. Basically she wants him dead. And basically Ishido's like, well, if you're worried about that, how about we forge our alliance a little more by getting married, basically. And, he says that we should get married to publicly show that we are this strong force together and nobody should screw with us, basically. And so, he says that to her, and she kind of looks down to the ground, and he's like, well, I'll let you contemplate that. Doesn't give an answer, but I'll let you contemplate that. But that's the offer I'm giving to help make ourselves seem more in charge, that we are the ones that you want to lead this nation, basically. So we have that interesting scene that I think is really fantastic. All right, so we'll stop there before we move on past that. So I want to get your guys' kind of your thoughts on that beginning intro of the episode. The basically all that goodness that just happened, the Mirako and Blackthorn conversation, the Blackthorn saying that he's sorry for Toranaga, his loss, and basically kind of that beginning scene with Ochiba and Ishido. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Anything you like to point out specifically, and just your thoughts on that portion of the episode? Let's start with you, Brad.
I'd first like to know what job I can get where I get 50 days bereavement, because I'd be killing off grandparents left and right. That's what I'm saying.
If you did a double session at the She-Hulk massage and spa voluntarily, you could get the bereavement.
That might work. I might do it for 50 days. But I mean, it opens up. I think this episode opens up great. Trying to think. I do like where they I don't believe Toranaga's sick throughout this. I really never really Jeff's in chat, and I kind of agree with Jeff that I never really took that he was sick. I thought he was playing that up a bit. And then Blackthorn in these last few episodes has made it. Blackthorn in these last few episodes has made he's talked more than he has in all the previous episodes. He's made a big deal of calling Toranaga out, and there's more going on than we're seeing between them two.
Most certainly. Thank you. Andres, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, so the opening was very somber. I mean, that's the thing, because the son, is dead. I mean, actually, he accidentally killed himself. I mean, slipping by a robe last week's episode. And I think it was just funny. It was funny to see the characters talk about how, like, a totally unexpected death it was, which was kind of funny.
We did not go that far.
Oh, really? Oh, my God. Well, no, I'm talking because the general that's decided by Tanaga, was talking briefly to one of the soldiers next to him when they were going.
Okay, that scene. Okay,
yeah, I'm talking about that.
When Yabashiga is making funny, like making that talk about how let's put that in the books. Okay,
yeah, that was that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that scene. I'm sorry.
Okay,
I had to be more clear. I'm sorry about that. No. When he was talking to
Andre's a pop culture guy.
Fuck you. You're not talking. I'm talking. Fuck you. Anyway,
you're taking time away from the panel right now.
Fuck you. Anyway. Oh God, you're making me sick now. Anyway. So anyway. So when he was talking about that, that was very funny. And I mean, just putting on the books was kind of like, oh, that's very funny. And I was kind of surprised that, was it Blackbeard time is up, okay, so he's done. He's no longer at the service for them. But then at the same time, I mean, as Cyber brought up before, with the summary, what he did last week was kind of unprofessional, but at the same time kind of true, but we'll see. So that thing was pretty, I mean, somber and makes a lot of sense. And then the conversation between Merkel and Blackbeard was kind of very intriguing. But yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed the sequence. Very cinematic. I mean, the cinematography here was so beautiful, and just shows how the quality of the show hasn't really dropped. And seeing that army coming up was like really impressive. So, but yeah, this is what to say. I mean, it was very somber because of what happened to the son, and yeah, and you can clearly see that Toranaga's, kind of is affected by it,
Okay. Thank you, Andreas. Damn you, Jeff. You and dropping that second grade motherfucker. Anyways, thank you, sir.
Baby. Oh.
I'll make sure to count Andreas' fuck you for you guys, okay? Anyways, Rathacon, your thoughts, sir.
Okay, so a few things. So firstly, I like that they made the weather cloudy in the beginning when they showed the funeral, because it just adds to the whole sadness of, everything. At least it didn't make it rainy, because if you have rain when it's like a funeral, then it's like, I don't know, makes it either too sad or it just doesn't make sense. So I think cloudy, that was like the perfect choice by the writers for the weather, for the funeral. What else? There was an interesting quote that Yabushige said. He said, "Cracking his head on stone wasn't a death I'd thought of. Be sure to record it in our book. I'd rank it lower than boiling, but higher than eaten by dogs." And I just found that interesting because it creates this sarcastic reference to death. And from my interpretation, he says that if you crack your head on stone, it's like worse than like as if you're boiled alive, like that dude in season 1 or episode 1. But eaten by dogs, Yabushige would say is like a lot worse. So if you want the fastest death, the most peaceful death, I guess, just boil alive instead of having your head cracked. And that's a second thing. Third thing. Okay, this is a good question for the whole panel. Okay. Toranaga's son nearly killed Saiki. Okay. And instead of like using that as an opportunity to just be like, okay, time to kill Toranaga. Like instead he just gives him like 50 days of bereavement. Doesn't even use it as an opportunity to just kill Toranaga right there, right now.
You're lucky Cyber doesn't make you step a code right now for stepping in and everything and trying to take over the panel and all this shit.
No, it's a good question.
You should have to demand. You should be told to step a code right now.
I think Cyber actually likes that. I'm actually asking the panel 2 questions. My questions.
I'm just joking.
I rarely do this stuff, Jeff, but I know you're joking.
We don't care.
That's not true, Rathacon. The last several episodes you've been on, you've always asked a question. So it's all good, but just admit when you do it every single episode. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, sir.
I'll admit. So can I ask my question?
Yeah, you may ask your question.
Oh God! Now he's asking. Oh my God.
Okay, so just what I said earlier. If you guys were Saiki, wouldn't you take the opportunity and just kill Toranaga just right there, right now?
I think it would have been worse had his son actually succeeded. Honestly, because then his troops would have gone to war.
Good point, Brad. Yeah, they're outnumbered militarily by like a hella number, right? Like at that point when that's
they're trapped, they're surrounded.
Oh yeah, there's no way. Like if they would have tried to fight back, it would have been a fool's errand. They would have been doing it just to die, right? Like they don't have the I'm assuming this time that they're buying for Toranaga is him assembling a force bigger than his.
Trying to.
That's what he lacks right now. But that no, Andres. I'm telling you, watch. In chapter 9 or 10, it's going to come out that Psyche and his brother are straight. It was all a part of his plan to say that to join be the fifth member of the council and all that shit and whatnot.
Also, it's kind of the honor code thing. So the honorable way of fighting, Toranaga follows, and then I'm guessing his brother also follows. So they wouldn't just. I mean, you've seen multiple people get their heads chopped off, and no one's returned the favor yet. Like right away.
But I mean, if you're Psyche, you would just kill Toranaga right there, right now, right?
I mean, if I was, sure, but I'm a Westerner, so that's like you shoot at me, and I'm going to shoot back. That's
end of answer to this question. If Psyche did that, all of Toranaga's men would kill him, and he doesn't seem like the type of dude that wants to like just die. Yeah, he seems like he has ambitions to live. He lives a free lifestyle. Like he seems like a happy motherfucker, you know?
Yeah, with 7 consorts.
Yeah, he doesn't want to die.
Cool. All right, that's all I have. Thanks, Cyber.
You're welcome.
Can I ask the panel a question now, Cyber, since Jassim does it every fucking show now?
One, sir. You get.
I just want to ask everybody: has everybody gone out and gotten the Yabushiki, loincloth yet? To rock, when you go to the beach?
It's on back order.
Oh, okay. Because that should look dope. I mean, it was a nice looking loincloth. I mean, like, fuck, Conan the Barbarian. I wish he had some shit like that back in the day.
I need the dick hat, like the big silver dick hat. That's what I need.
It helps to have that bulge too, man. Yabushiki's bulge is impressive, right? Yabushiki is not worried about going to the pool in front of the ladies and shit and whatnot with that shit. He's ready to rock.
And yet Yabushiki's he rather watch his son get on with Kiku instead of do it himself.
Kiku was too attractive. He only likes bitches who gotta put like paper bags on their heads.
Like Jin.
Oh, Jin's not to that level.
That was weird. Anyways.
What happened?
I guess the loincloth and the bulge just killed my feet or something. I don't know.
Did you fall out or something and it threw off all your shit?
I guess so. I don't.
Oh man!
Like literally, I don't know what happened, but it just like decided. Oh, I'm just gonna. The computer decided. Oh, I'm just going to go to blocked mode. I guess I don't know. Anyways, I'm back. So, anyways, thank you guys. Great job. Let's go on to Mr. Justin. Your thoughts, sir?
All right. Yeah. Well, now it's my turn to talk. My internet's probably gonna cut out. But anyway, I thought the opening sequence with Mariko and Blackthorn, you could still feel the tension there. Like the tension is oh man, you can cut that thing. It's thick, and it's like that will they won't they kind of storyline going on. But she is so dedicated to the culture and the rules that they have set in place where like she's like, okay, I can't go with him, I can't escape, like that kind of thing. I'm stuck here to deal my fate. And then I thought the when Toranaga was like kind of letting Blackthorn go, I kind of felt like he felt just as like betrayed that Blackthorn would not like support him and back him up than he did like his brother like turning his back on him, because I feel like he really wanted Blackthorn to be that guy for him, like that the quote unquote white savior to come and like lead them into the success and promised land with their like cannon tactics and all that kind of stuff. But he instead was just too driven to get out of there, like let's get out of Dodge like real quick because I have this desire to get back to my crew and sail and do whatever, right? And then the 49 days, like that might be one of the best things his son has ever given him, is the 49 days to strategically plan for how he's going to escape this. Because we mentioned, I mean, I know a couple episodes ago when I was on, T-Roll mentioned that he's playing chess and everybody else playing checkers. You're going to give this like master strategist 49 extra days. So yeah, like his son's death was a blessing to Toranaga and might have been the thing that solidifies his potential success. So yeah, that was phenomenal. And then like you mentioned the like Yabashigi and the quote of like him dying by slipping on getting his head cut off head smashed by a stone. And then they like look back at the people in protest and they're wearing armor, and so like there's this whole other
Justin, I'm sorry, Justin, but this is actually really important and profound. It's actually, according to one of our guests of the show last week, he actually tripped on the rope from one of the medieval Japanese sex toys, the rock and rope sex toy. He tripped on the rope, and that's how he died.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that's a painful way to go right there for sure.
It was a rope.
Oh, that's so bad. Yeah, I missed that. I'm sorry, guys. Thank you for correcting me.
It was good, brother. You would have liked it.
I would have loved it. But yeah, but anyway, that whole like they're in protest to the son's death, and I mean, I'm not really 100% like because I guess because he's surrendering, they're like, oh, we're not going to support this guy because he's like he's a quitter, that kind of thing. But he has 49 days, so we're going to see where that goes and takes him.
Excellent, thank you, sir. All right, Jeff, close us out with this first part here with your thoughts, sir.
I'm still waiting for you in the private chat to tell me how far I can go in the episode, but I was trying to be in the private chat so I didn't look stupid and like be all embarrassed and ask you all vocally and whatnot. And they would try to save face, and be professional.
Like I said, up to the Ochiba Ishiba conversation.
Okay. Well, basically, everybody else has already said really good shit. I just want to say that, like, I'm sorry, but from like beginning of episode to end of episode, I did not believe that, seriously, Hiroyuki Sanada playing sick was not believable, right? Like, I did not buy it at all for 1 second. I believe that he proved, we've reviewed this whole, we've all watched this whole series. He's proven that he is the ultimate strategician. That's what he's known for. His enemies know that. He is the sleight of hand guy. Like, he's the big thinker, It makes no sense at all that he would just give up, right? Like, none. He has so many people supporting him and relying on him, right? For his strength and whatnot and all that and whatnot. And he's fought for so many people beyond him to have better lives and whatnot and everything, right? And to, improve their lives and whatnot. He's done good for people, obviously, right? Like, he cares about his country, about his people. Toranaga doesn't just give up on his shogun and his people and whatnot and everything like that and whatnot. He doesn't do it. He's not built like that. That's some shit Ashido would do or whatever, whatnot, not him. Ashido was a Weasley motherfucker. We'll talk about him in a minute, but he's a Weasley motherfucker. He really is. But honestly, I think that it was the opening of this episode was really sort of, again, confusing. Like I mentioned in chapter 7, where they're between the writing and the actual acting in the audience, it's hard to completely understand sometimes in some of these scenes what they're trying to give us. Right? Like what we're supposed to be looking for exactly, like pinpoint it, right? You can kind of gauge it. You think you know where they're trying to go and what they're trying to give us or tell us, but you can't tell sometimes. It's hard to really tell what this really means in certain ways. It's hard with this show to just put all the pieces together, if that makes sense. You can with other shows that you watch, where as you're progressing, you can put the pieces together easily. Shogun really throws you off with that, to where every time you think you know exactly where things would go with any other show, Shogun doesn't go in that direction, right? Like, look at Toranaga, this opening. They just continue this malaise almost on his end, right? All his people are worried, they're scared, they're starting to actually worry about him. He's pulling off this whole "I'm sick" deal, "I'm giving up" bullshit and whatnot, right? I mean, I don't know what to make of Blackthorn this episode was not a good Blackthorn episode. The opening wasn't good for him. This was not a good Blackthorn episode. Like Blackfoot did not do well in this one. They didn't do well with him. He wasn't in. He didn't get a lot of scenes, but he really wasn't that heavily in the opening. Basically, I guess the only part I would comment on before I dip out would basically just be that I found it. Did we go as far as when the baby's been born? Toranaga's grandson has been born already?
Nope.
No? Okay.
No.
All right. So basically, I guess that all I would really probably say would just be that in the audience watching, I wasn't sure what to expect of how this episode would go. And again, I expected more excitement, I guess, more of a faster pace than what we actually got. And so the opening really left me kind of like really in speculation as to what the fuck was happening with this show. Like, where are we really going? They built up a lot of suspense throughout it and whatnot. And they did a really good job with the opening doing that. You know, like really putting you in a position in the audience of really wondering what the hell is really happening here. They're pushing as hard as they can to make you believe Toranaga gave up.
Very good. Good job. Excellent.
That's how you win the Shogun Award on the panel, Brad.
No, nobody's won the Shogun Award yet. You did a good job, but you're still tied with a lot of people.
You gotta bring a little Denzel up in your shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, Denzel.
Fire shit.
Yep, Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood shit. All right, thank you. Excellent job by everyone. Great job. Just before we move on, I just want to throw out a thought. You can answer it or you can't answer. Just a thought that came across me. Does anybody think that the death of Toranaga's son was purposely done? Does anybody think that was actually an accident, or do we think that it was planned?
I, of course, want to answer. And I'll even go first, of course, because I am, of course, trying to win the Shogun Award. So I'm going to jump right in immediately so I can cut off my competition. Yes, I believe that Toranaga didn't know what would happen exactly, but he assumed because he's so strong with his intuition. He's very intuitive, right? That's his biggest strength is intuition. He has great intuition and ability to read people, right? Evaluate people from jump off conversation or from being around them. He knew, or at least in his mind, had a strong feeling that his son would act that way and that he would perish, right? Or he didn't know what would happen, but he would not make it out of it surviving. That's why he handled the death so well.
Anybody else have thoughts?
I kind of disagree with I agree in some of it, but I kind of disagree just because Toranaga didn't like how his son just ran into shit. Like he scolded him over and over and over. So he probably had an idea that his son was going to do something stupid, but the last thing he would want is for his son to kill, his brother because they're fucking surrounded. It's not a good plan. So to me, I mean, it's just another reckless.
That's true, Brandon. What if they are working together? The brother, Psyche, and Toranaga?
Yeah, then he's really screwed shit up.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I mean, the slip on the rock was kind of humorous in a way at the end there, but was that planned by Toranaga? Did he know? I don't think so. I think this was just another reckless maneuver by his son.
And the rope.
The rope. I think there's too many variables to I mean, yeah, he could send his son in there, or I guess his son is so reckless that he knew he would go in there. But I feel like there's too many variables because, what if he came close to killing him and then he gets killed, and then instead of bringing him to Ishido, he's like, okay, well, you attempted to kill me, I'm gonna kill you now. You don't know how the other person's gonna react unless I guess they were in on it, and that's the case. The son died for no reason except to give him 49 days. That would be. I mean, I don't know if Toranaga's the kind of guy where he's like, I want my son dead so I can get 49 days. I'm gonna send him to go take the sacrifice. I don't see Toranaga doing that because he's already showing so much compassion for the heir and even Mariko and her situation with Buntaro. I feel like he's showed a lot of compassion that way. So I don't feel like he would just hope that his son died, that kind of thing. Like, I don't know. It's tough. There's too many variables for a strategist like him to put in play. I don't know.
Can I go?
Yep.
No.
So I think that Toranaga, he's just a great improviser. That's simply it. Because ever since all of the, the shit show began with Toranaga and Ishido, it's like Toranaga has like a grand plan. But then, at the same time, we see the son do stuff like use the cannons against Ishido's forces and stuff like that. And if anything, Toranaga's son has actually done Toranaga favors by buying him time, by, allowing the whole team to escape, like all that stuff. Toranaga's son was supposed to kill Saiki stealthily in the Willow World. Okay, that didn't go well, but if it was successful, think about Saiki's forces. They would be confused. They're like, okay, our boss is dead. Who do we follow now for command? And then Saiki's forces, like you have like a couple captains and stuff, like they're going to all try to compete for power. So, you create chaos among Saiki's forces. Toranaga's forces just could have mowed them down through the chaos, but he failed. But at least Toranaga was able to improvise using the changes in the circumstances. So everything's accidental. Toranaga's-san did the best he could to help his dad, and he was quite effective. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, just like Justin said, there's a lot of variables, but there was just so many things when I rewatched, episode 7, looking at that death. There just was too many things there that I felt seemed very planned, especially as the son is chasing Saiki outside. He automatically has this really long robe on that he's trying to run with. That's what he slip on and kills himself. Now, if you look very closely at how that scene plays out, he goes in for the charge to stab him. You see the uncle kind of move the robe a little bit, and then he slips and falls onto the rock. So to me, that just seemed a little too strategic and too planned for it not to be a part of the plan.
What are you talking about the rope, sir? About the rope?
Fuck the rope. Anyways, so my thinking process on this, if you're a master general, you realize that there's going to be casualties no matter what in order to be able to win the battle. So if you have to sacrifice a few people, as we'll find out later in this episode, in order to persevere, to be able to get time to make your strategic plan go, that is something that they would have done in feudal Japan. I mean, think about it. They seppuku themselves for just saying something wrong. So this doesn't seem very illogical for them to do something like this as a strategic plan. So that's kind of why I brought up the question, because I was just kind of like, I feel that this could have been sort of planned. It could have been, like Justin said, there's a lot of variables. It couldn't have been. It could have been just an accident and him just being reckless, most definitely. But at the same time, I just saw there's too many variables that looked like planning for it to be just that basic, or that, that it'd be just a mistake like that, especially when it helps out Toranaga's plan. Like, how does that fall into place? So, exactly at the moment he needs it to happen, when he's trying to create victory for Crimson Sky for moving on to the next strategic part of his plan. So that just seemed too strategic to be just something that happened by accident. All right, let's move on. So after the Ochiba Ishido scene, that's when we go to, as I would like to call it, the wake for the son's death. It's not the full-on memorial. It's kind of more of a reminiscing era for the memorial, because they later on we'll see more of a memorial. And basically the guys are all sitting around drinking sake and basically, talking about the son and giving kind of their thoughts and everything on the guy and saying he was brave, he was this and that. And that's when Yabushigi's nephew kind of speaks up, saying, I think he would enjoy that we're talking about him like this. And he basically kind of goes into a little speech about, even though he was reckless and all this kind of stuff, he made a purpose known. He did something that was an effect. It did help us. And so he should be recognized for his bravery for what he did. And, all the guys kind of acknowledge that, and we get that kind of great little reminiscing scene there, which I think was really fun. So after that, you could tell they all felt what the nephew was saying, and that they, understood what he was talking about and understood. And then that's when we see them actually going to the actual memorial the next morning, walking. We have Toranaga's faithful general guy, which I forget what his name is. What is his name?
His name is Hiromatsu.
Hiromatsu.
Yeah, Hiromatsu.
Hiromatsu, thank you. We have Hiromatsu and Yamashigi walking towards the memorial, and they have a brief conversation. And Yamashigi mentions, like, we still have people that are willing to fight. We need to go and do something. We got to take back what is ours, and basically like that. And so Yamashiri Yamamatsu basically is like, tells him, like, oh, you've been asked by Ishido to bring the cannons and the guns and everything to him in Osaka, and that's what you're supposed to do tomorrow. You're supposed to leave tomorrow, like that, and you will go alone, you will march, and you'll do that. And basically, Yamashuti, however you say his name, basically, reiterates that, he hasn't really given up. He's got a strategic plan. Just follow it and keep going with it, and we'll get to that point where we will Crimson Sky, basically. And so then that's when we kind of get that, like, brief moments. They get to the actual altar where the body is and everything, and the big I don't know what you call it, a memorial or a casket or whatever they call it over in Japan, whatever that monument is that they built there to show, kind of burn him, cremate him, basically, was really cool looking, I thought. And I thought that shot was very interesting. And so I think that was a very pivotal scene as well, showing, you're starting to see Yamashigi really come together to be more of a player versus being Ishido's like lackey, basically, I feel. All right. Okay. We also, at that point, is when he Yamashutu basically mentions to him that everyone's needs to go to the temple tomorrow to sign that they're gonna surrender with Toranaga and that show their allegiance that way, which I thought was another little sequence there in that procession that was very interesting. So then that's when we go to.
Cyber, did you borrow my handwriting?
I did. I wrote really fast when I was doing this, and I I was like, So this is when we get to when Mariko goes and sees Toranaga's new grandchild, and she gets to see the baby and everything like that, and is talking to the mother who and everything. And basically she finds out that Toranaga has not been since they got back to Edo to see the grandchild, and that she asked, has she heard from Ochiba, and that she's only gotten a formal letter from her, and didn't really say much in the letter. And we kind of see on Mariko's face, kind of like she's surprised that Toranaga has not seen his grandchild. Then after it kind of cuts away for a second, it comes back. That's when Baratu pops up and asked Mariko to have tea with him. So we'll stop there before we move on past that. So what are you guys' thoughts on that kind of section of the episode? The memorial, the wake, the scene, with the baby, and just kind of your overall thoughts on that section of the episode. I'll start with you, Justin.
Yeah. Okay. So the memorial that they had when they're all sitting around, I thought that it was interesting that Yabashigi and Hiramatsu kind of started it off, kind of maybe like a little bit jesting a little bit about like what a way to go out, that kind of thing. And then when Omi takes over and he's like, no, what you guys need to like listen here, like what he died for meant something, like that whole scene to me, like I thought that the intensity
loyalty.
Yeah, the intensity and the fact that the loyalty that Omi shows for the cause of Toranaga, and like when he drops the line, he did it all for Lord Toranaga, and then the camera like kind of does like the zoom in on Hiramatsu's face, which I mean obviously foreshadows later on, but we won't get there yet. But he's really like, okay, like Toranaga, you could tell like he's contemplating like, what am I willing to do for Toranaga if his son is willing to do anything for him. So I mean I thought that was very interesting, that conversation, and the way that like kind of highlighted the sacrifice the son made, even though it was not a planned sacrifice, that kind of thing. And then I found it very interesting when the Mariko, when she was talking to about the baby and the grandbaby, and then Buntaro comes in, and their anti-chemistry is what I'll call that. Like they are so like it's rough to watch their interaction, and we'll have more time to talk about that a little bit later. But they are so like they're not compatible at all, and he is just all like nervous, and he looks like very shook, like please have tea with me is basically how I interpreted it as. And she's like very serious, like, yes, I'll have tea with you, that kind of thing. Like but I mean, you could tell that she is not about that life with him, and we'll get to the big scene later. But yeah, I found those two scenes very interesting, and the fact that they both kind of have to do with loyalty, but like just in different ways. Like Toranaga's getting his loyalty with the conversation at the memorial, but then like Mariko has no loyalty for Buntaro, and she's like almost against him when the invite comes. She's like, I guess I'll go with you, that kind of mentality. But yeah, it was very good scenes.
Excellent, thank you. Mr. Andres, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah, these were pretty good. Not my favorite part of the episode, but I mean, it's just moving on to see how is our characters are right now in this moment. I thought the funeral was really beautiful. I think it was just really just set so well. I always enjoy those kind of like I don't know, some reason the Japanese funeral is always like very somber but very beautiful, because just how they present their their passing of their loved ones, and it's always very good to see, and just cinematic at the same time. And and then the tea, my favorite scene, actually this sequence was the tea thing with Mariko and the husband, because I was kind of surprised he's gonna see her after all the crazy thing he has done the last 2 episodes ago. But it was a really good scene. I really like it, like the fact that he was very respectful to her at that moment. He actually smiled like for once in his life, like in this show, which I was kind of shocked.
I thought you wanted him to die and all that shit last chapter.
I know, but it's just this one scene just turned around. I was like, oh, he's acting like a gentleman for once, It was
So you shed a tear?
No, I did not shed a tear. I was like laughing. I was like, oh my god.
Disappointed.
Yeah. I'm sorry, folks. I'm disappointed you guys for the tear, bro. Anyway, but it was a really good conversation, because I mean Mariko kind of get the sense that or like they got the sense that this maybe is the the final maybe time they be together, because I mean I don't because like right now it's totally uncertain right now, like what's going on. Like you guys talked about the does Toranaga have a plan? At this moment he's so like distraught. He's so kind of like just giving up, which was kind of weird. And when we get into the next sections, like it becomes more clear that he has like just given up, and it just like, it is official. He surrendered, and I think throughout the series, I think, or last episode or 2 episodes since, everyone around Tornaga thinks that he's just playing around. He has a plan, like he's Dom Toretto of Fast and Furious. He has a plan. We just don't know the ins and outs of this plan. But unfortunately, that is not true. So we'll get into that. But so I can understand Miracle's husband just just trying to do something nice and do this one thing that's not aggressively violent, towards her and all that. So I really dug that. And plus, it's great to see Mariko. She's a great character. I think this, I'm so excited what we're gonna get for next episode. But it's great to see her in this one section with this husband. But yeah, this section is good. It's just like getting us to the characters, like how they're feeling right now. I did enjoy the couple of them talking about Tanaka's son. Because it's despite how reckless he is, he was. I think in a lot of ways he's actually more Tanaka than what we're seeing with Tanaka doing, which is kind of weird. Like the son was being more Tanaka. Like he was trying to do something that was actually proactive and like try to help set the army to fight the war that's inevitable. But Tanaka was just taking his sweet time, which I'm like, come on, dude, you're gonna die and then you're gonna be impeached. Like, what's going on here? But anyway, I don't know. Like, some reason the son, like, despite his recklessness, like he's actually thinking forward than Tanaka. But it's just the generation things. Like, it's just a lot of politics and movement of this game that all these government officials have with each other. So, but yeah, this section is not my favorite, but there's really good moments and quiet moments that I really appreciate that for our favorite characters to maybe the next step in the next episode,
All right. Thank you. Brad, your thoughts, sir?
I think the funeral part where Tornaga basically says he's going to surrender and all his men have to follow him and surrender, which we all know what that means. That's death. I think that is basically the start of the game for Tornaga with his own people. It's a test of loyalty. It's seeing how far they'll go for him. And then it also sets pieces in motion of those who he may not think as loyal and see what they'll do. And so this is all the big game Tornaga is playing towards the end effect, and he's moving people where he wants them to move. And I just got to say, it's got to be really hard to be Tornaga's friend, because at the end of the day, you might have to lay down your life. Also,
anything else?
Buntaro's a bitch. That's
yes, he is.
That's where we're at.
Oh,
excellent. All right, thank you, Jeff. Your thoughts, sir, on that section?
Well, sir, as usual, I've become so entrenched by all the, Justin and Brad and, not so much Andres, but, been so entranced by their contributions that it's really thrown me off.
Fuck you.
I'm just joking. Will you stop? Oh, my God. Anyways, I'm just busting your balls. Whatever. Anyways, no, sir. What line are we going up to on this round?
We're going up to
Fuji Skirt.
Yeah, going up Fuji Skirt. Yeah. We're leading up to when Burantaro asked for Mariko to go have tea.
Well, I wouldn't have tea with that son of a bitch. First of all, he's a fucking asshole. He may be a good
the guy who actually saved the whole clan in episode 3.
They were already on the boats.
He may already be a good warrior and all. He may be a good warrior and all that shit and whatnot, but he is a fucking asshole. There's a reason why, like, there's a complete unfucking vibe chemistry going on between every scene between Mariko and him, where it's like automatic, like we're not fucking.
He definitely has little dick vibes. That's for sure.
Most definitely. I think his biggest problem is he's intimidated by Blackfoot's potential bulge, right? Like, you know, he's a savage and he could have some big fucking anaconda cock or some shit. Who knows? I mean, imagine. I mean, at one point, a couple. Remember when Justin, when Andre said that Shaquille O'Neal was on the one channel?
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Like, you know, I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was hiding in the shadows.
It was a foreshadow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it was really dark and he just hid. Because, like, if Shaquille O'Neal came out on the set with Shogun, I would think that, like, people would be fucked up. They'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, if they think that fucking the engine is a savage, imagine Shaquille O'Neal with his robes on and shit, like, as Shaq Fu rapping and shit, wizard and shit and whatnot.
Goddamn Shazam.
For real. Tornado would be like, oh, okay. Tornado would see the benefit in him. You know,
it was Kazam, not Shazam.
Sorry.
Tornado would be like, Kazam, I'm gonna make you Horomato too, because I can tell.
You mean Hanamoto?
That was a different timeline.
Yeah, Hanamoto. You're gonna be Hanamoto too, because I can tell, sir. We're gonna need your savage black energy, or whatever the fuck, 7 blood energy. So no, but basically, in the Marvel Studios version of Shogun, of course. The reason that Fuji is not in this chapter is because in chapter 8, Fuji is going to get glowy hands like Echo in the Echo finale, and she's going to win the war. She's going to bang, what's her name? Ochiba no Kana. They're going to bang, right? And what's going to happen is Blackthorn and Yabu are going to sail off and like become gay with each other, right? In the Marvel Studios version of the Shogun universe, that's how it's going. The rest of the show would go. From just to be clear, so it's a good thing that Marvel Studios is not running Shogun, right?
I can just look at Cyber's face right now.
I don't even pay attention anymore. But Cyber gives me these looks and whatnot, everything. I don't even look.
You lost everybody, Cyber. You lost everybody, Cyber. Bring us back.
So I didn't understand what fucking word you just said. So,
sir, I was trying to add some critical contrast. Some critical contrast.
Your turn is up, Mr. New York. Okay.
How's his running for Shogun award going right now?
He lost about 1 billion points there.
Let me get back on track so I can get back in the running for the Shogun award. Okay.
Yeah. 5 seconds.
Oh, 5 seconds. Jesus Christ. That's longer than the last time I had sex with a woman.
4 seconds.
Jesus. Trying to really push a motherfucker at that point. I couldn't even last that long with the last time I hung out with like Gali, whatever, whatnot.
3 seconds.
Couldn't hang for 5 seconds. That's a lot of pressure. I would let Andres do my contribution for me. I think.
Andres already went.
Well, you know, I figured he's so gifted. I figured he could just double down. But no,
just spit it out.
So basically, you know, I really, really, really dig the T scene. I love Bontero as a character. I really do. I think that his love for Mariko is something that adds a layer to the show, to the overall dynamics, the interpersonal dynamics between the characters and the story. I think it's something that surprises you in the audience. After a while, you don't realize that you know, until a couple episodes in, that Bontero loves Mariko, right? He does, like in his own way, you know, in his own, you know, chauvinistic, you know, feudal Japan way. He views his time with her as this great time, right? And unfortunately, Mariko ain't feeling that, but you can't blame a brother for being in love. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't blame a dude for being in love. Who knows? That might have been like the first pillowing he ever got was with Mariko. You know what I'm saying? So he's got that first pillow connection going, you know? And that's a deep connection, that first pillow, right? You know, the second pillow is different. The first pillow is forever. Till second pillow. So essentially, besides that, I like seeing Toranaga playing strategy while playing sick. It's funny. It's almost interesting watching him, like, you know, being sick yet at the same time being strategic, right? Like, I don't know if I'm the only one, but he did not pull off being sick that well. Like, you know, like, well, how did he get sick? Like, who gave him? Who did he like? Did he bang one of the courtesans or some shit? And they gave him some kind of fucking herp? Like, how did he get so sick all of a sudden?
They said it was in the travels to Edo, is what they said.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, the whole sickness deal, it didn't play with me. But essentially, did we go as far as when Blackthorn actually proposes allyship with
No.
Yabu?
No.
Okay. Well,
I told you up to when Baratu asked Mariko to have tea.
Okay, just at the tea scene. I thought that the conversation between Mariko and I forgot the name of the character, but the granddaughter or whatever or whatever she is was interesting because we hadn't seen her for a while. She had her baby. I thought that was interesting. Mariko had a strong episode. I thought another really strong one for her. She really played her part, and I really didn't know what to think when Buntero asked about, you know, giving her tea. Everything is so tense at this point in the show, right? Like, we don't know where we're going. So I'm thinking to myself, is he going to poison her? Like, literally, that's what I was thinking to myself. Is he going to poison her right now? Because he couldn't take her head off. He didn't have the balls or whatever to take her head off, right? In chapter 7. Is he going to take her out right now and like give her death? And then she slaps down that tea and shoots it down like a shooter. I'm thinking in my head, like, is she going to be drugged right now? That's how suspenseful all this is to me. Just to that's my contribution. Well, that was, you know, while all this is going down, this whole contest. I know I've gone farther than the tea thing. It's got like it puts me in a place where literally, as I see that we hit 46 viewers on our YouTube viewer count. What's up, fucking audience? What's the deal? I know that I'm killing it. Numbers about to go down now. But that's it, sir. Okay, USA. And okay, there you go.
Okay, final question for you, Jeff. How much crack did you smoke before this episode?
Sir, I promise. I only stopped at the 5 o'clock free crack special twice. That was it.
Okay, just twice. Okay, good to know. Good to know. So the download's coming. Okay, good. Anyways, Wrath of Khan, take us out with your thoughts on that section up to when just Baranto asked Mariko to have tea.
Oh, perfect. Got it. Crystal clear, Cyber. Crystal clear. All I want to talk about is the fact that in the they call it wake, right? You know, at night, all the men are together in that one house. Omi was the only one that I found who was more struck by the death than all the other people combined, including Toranaga. He like was crying at the wake, like not much tears, but while everyone else was talking about, oh yeah, Toranaga's son, he was a pissy boy, and like, you know, talking about he falls off tree and stuff. He was like, Omi was like, you know, even though he might be reckless, he was actually smart for sacrificing his life for Toranaga. And out of that whole scene, Omi was the only one who actually talked good about Toranaga's son. Everyone else was just like, as if they're like making fun of him. So kudos to Omi for that. And it's understandable, especially since Omi and Toranaga's son, they're like brothers, even though they come from different families. And also when it comes to the sickness part,
kind of like me and you, little brother.
Yeah, like this. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Jeff. Yeah. As for the sickness, so the reason why Toranaga got sick is because of the whole like weather changes issue. Like you saw how in the previous episode it was raining, right? And then, you know, next thing you know, it's already cloudy. So the weather changed so much. So naturally, a person's going to get sick, you know, especially since there's like, you know, a lot of weather changes. That's how I got sick 2 weeks ago. So I don't think Toranaga was faking it. Like, it's hard to fake an illness for so long in front of so many people. I'm just going to say that. That's all I have to say, Cyber.
Excellent, Jason. Thank you. All right. So the leaderboard right now, before we go into the trailer, we're going to show you the trailer to kind of get you re-psyched for what we're talking about, people, in a second. But just to let us know what the leaderboard is for the Shogun Award, we have Andres and Justin tied for first. We have Brad and Jassim in second place, with Jeff trailing for his 60-minute contribution.
What?
Exactly. All
So
right.
you're saying Jeff's in the rear? Is that what you're saying? He likes it in the rear?
Yes, he likes it in the rear. Yes.
Okay, just making sure I heard that right.
Yeah, him and She-Hulk, they just have too much fun together, you know. So if you have that trailer ready, sir, we will play it.
I have that trailer, sir. Just like I always have that rear for She-Hulk. She owns it, so, you know.
Hear me, my son. I alone will tell you the truth. Death is the only punishment here.
I have not told you my family name, but it is well known in Japan. Many years ago, a great injustice stole everything from me. I have learned one truth, that enemies are everywhere and friends nowhere. To show your true heart is to risk your life. Because death can come for us at any moment.
These are dire times. Hinomoto wa senran no you ni tachikaeru wake. Doomed lovers, cursed kings. These people are godless savages.
Or maybe they just don't give a shit what you think.
Toki wa kita! Omori takabutta gyakuzoku kara Hinomoto o mamorareba naran!
もはや戦議は終わったと思ってよいのじゃな。
動けない！
その後、己の敵の正体が分かっておらぬのじゃ。
You cannot play their games. That's how they dominate. A title revered through the ages. Shogun.
Do not be fooled by our politeness. Our bows are made of rituals. Death is in our air. And sea and earth. Just remember. We live and we die. We control nothing beyond that.
There's a saying out here, every man has three hearts. One in his mouth for the world to know. Another in his chest, just for his friends. And a secret heart, buried deep, where no one can find it. What kind of man wields power in a land like this? The one with the open or the one you never see? Will I die here? Likely.
War is coming.
Life and death are the same. Both can have value and purpose.
The This is not where we die. We should be corpses, I know, but here we are. My life is mine and yours is yours. If you can't see that, you'll never be free of this prison.
It is you who is imprisoned. Freedom is all you ever live for.
己の務めを果たす覚悟はできておるか。
覚悟はできておりまする。
Cyber, may I just say something really quick, brother, if you don't mind? This
One
fucking
second. Go for it.
The soundtrack on this fucking show is just unbelievable, man. The fucking the cinematography, the choreography, the music, it is fucking unbelievable. We never ever really talk about it, but it is unbelievable.
The trailers have good music, most definitely. The episodes have pretty decent music as well. So yeah, I get what you're talking about. But there we go, folks. A little reminder of the show we're talking about, what we're going through every single week for the last several weeks now. 8 weeks now that we've been doing this, with the 8th episode tonight. All right, great job last round, guys. Really good, nice conversation, great points. All right, so moving on. So next, what happens? We see Blackthorn again, and he is talking to a Japanese person and trying to get coal from them because he feels that burns better than the wood that they keep wanting to give him. And that's when, as he's talking to the Japanese man, the father that we have been introduced to before, I believe his name's Alvido, it comes by and he talks in Japanese saying that he's looking for firewood again. And he's like, and as he's like talking, he notices he's like, it's not, and Blackthorn's like, that's not what I'm asking for. Thank you, father. And basically, like, they have like a brief, like, kind of like interlude there, and basically Blackthorn goes on his business, so does the father. So after that, the father then goes to talk to Toranaga about their arrangement. And after they start having conversation, Toranaga says, I don't trust what you're saying to me, father, because of the church, and tells Mariko that you will translate for Albedo and for the rest of this conversation because I don't trust him. And so basically he ends up telling, Toranaga that his efforts basically have been fruitless, that he wasn't able to get what they had agreed upon, but basically that maybe you should think of something else. And basically as that's happening, that's when the old guy, as I like to call him, Yamasuto, Uramatsu, thank you, Uramatsu, basically pops up, saying, Lord, maybe we should think about having an alliance with Ochiba. And that's kind of what the father is kind of mentioning about, that maybe you should make an alliance with Ochiba and become alliances and etc. Stuff like that. And, basically kind of Toranaga listens to Yamasuto, and it listens to what the father's saying through Mariko, and basically, says, what do you think? What do you think, Mariko? Her, basically he mentions how her hatred for him, I don't think it will work. I don't think we could get an alliance with her, basically. And so after they kind of agree on that point, Toranaga, agrees that, maybe there's something else, that they can do. Let's see here. And then, so basically kind of that conversation kind of dwindles and ends, and they basically don't go anywhere with that after, about making an alliance with Chiba. They're basically Toranaga says that I'm not going to do it. But he tells the father that, you know, he thanks him for what he has done and that he will keep his part of the bargain by giving him the piece of land to build his church in Edo. And so, you know, the father thanks him. And, you know, basically Toranaga says, I have a message I want you to basically tell to somebody else, and, you know, tells him to take this message on for him. So then after he leaves and starts making his way, that's when we have Yabushigi talking to Yashimato briefly, saying that, you know, Toranaga's got a plan. He hasn't succeeded. You know, there's more to this. Why would he send this message with the father if he didn't already have a plan, basically? And you know, they basically leave it at that. All right. So this is when that's when we go to the scene, you know, basically where he's going to ask everyone to sign their name to surrender with him when the 49 days is up. Let's see. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. What was he saying? Blah, blah. Okay. That's when we get to the scene with Mariko and Bartero when they're having their tea. We see Mariko basically You okay over there, sir?
Okay,
he was trying to make a perfect O with his smoke, and it failed.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for trying to kill yourself on live TV. Anyways, so that's when, like I said, we get to Mariko and Bartaro having their tea session. We see Mariko going to get the herbs and everything that she needs to make the tea. We see her getting the water, getting everything prepared. And she still makes it, but he just pours it to make it look like he actually gave it to her, which I think is kind of funny. So basically they start talking, and he, you know, says that, you know, I wanted to talk to you, say that we both commit seppuku together as husband and wife and go into the afterlife that way. And basically then Mariko's like, no. And says, I want to give you 5 seconds more of my life after what you did, basically. And I'm not giving you that privilege. And you just see Bartaro's face as she's telling this, and like how he's like, he knows how badly he screwed up. And it's just beautiful, sweet music. Just seeing Mariko like just give it to him and tell him fuck no, you know, basically, which was really great. And so basically that scene ends. Then we see we have a great scene where we have Blackthorn go and see his men finally that he hasn't seen since the very first episode. And he makes his way to where they supposedly are. He has a gentleman guiding him to where they are, and his men that are left are basically at this bar, and we see one of them come out of the bar with a woman, and he's like treating her badly and stuff like that. And basically he notices Blackthorn, and they start having a conversation. And basically, you know, he asks how they're doing, you know, how a few of them are left and that kind of stuff. And he says that, you know, it's basically shit, and how they, you know, their numbers have dwindled, and that, you know, then this, you know, the guys start saying that they blame Blackthorn for where they're at, you know, basically that, you know, Blackthorn, you know, says, let's go and get on the boat and everything. And they're like, no, we're going to stay here after how long they've already been there and stuff like that. And basically they get into a tussle, and Blackthorn basically beats the crap out of the guy, and, you know, ends up leaving. And so it's kind of funny, that scene, because from how far we've come with Blackthorn since the very first episode, how much it's changed. Like I was saying earlier about how he has really grown to understand the Japanese culture, understand that there's different things other than, you know, England and all that kind of stuff. And his time over in Japan has really shown him other things and other ways to be, you know, you can see by this time, by this 8th episode, how much he has evolved as a person, how much he's evolved his character. And this scene right here, I think, proves that you know, Blackthorn has changed. He's not just that dirty Englishman that we first met in the first episode, and that, you know, he has changed. So then after that, Blackthorn goes to see Yabashigi and basically to make an alliance with them. And Yabashigi, we kind of contemplating it, but then his nephew pops up saying, you know, that would be basically that would be against our lord. That would be considered treasonous. And so, you know, Yabashi's like, yeah, unfortunately, my nephew's right. I have to refuse. And Blackthorn then tries to go into this long spiel and, you know, offering him a sword and stuff like that. And you can see the wheels turning in Yabashigi's head. Like, I agree with this, but at the same time, yeah, this could be considered treason. I need to go and sign that paper when my lord surrenders. I got to stay true and not be treacherous, and refuses still. Mirko at this time is basically translating for him to Yabashigi. And at one point, Blackthorn's like says something, and Mirko's like, should I translate that, or was that for me? And just when Blackthorn gets silent, you're like, yeah, that's for you. That's for you. You could tell that was for you. And so basically they end up leaving at that, you know, Yabashigi refuses. So we'll stop there before we move on past that. What are you guys' thoughts on that section of the episode? What did you enjoy about it? What did you think about the tea with Mirko and Baratu? What did you think about the Yabashigi Blackthorn scene? Or what did you think about the Blackthorn with his men scene? And kind of just your overall thoughts from where I started and stopped. You know, basically at that point in the episode.
Who is Murato?
There's no Murato.
Okay, I just want to make sure I wondering.
It's called Mirko, motherfucker.
Okay.
So shut up. Be quiet and wait your turns, bitch. Anyways. So guys, what are your thoughts? Let's start with you, Brad.
That's a lot. That's a huge part of the show that I have to go into. First off, the Catholic Church.
Shut up, Jeff.
First off, the Catholic Church, they've been just a pain in the ass through this whole series. So it's always good to see Toranaga knowing he has to deal with them, but kind of backhands them a bit. And he's just like, yeah, I kind of have to deal with you, but go away. For most of the scenes. So that's always fun, especially, and you didn't get to that part yet, but the scene after this with the Catholic Church and what we see, that's hilarious. When it comes to the Mirko scene and the Buntoro scene where they drink tea, I thought I knew through the previous 7 episodes how much Mirko hated Buntaro, but I did not know, and I think this might be one of the best scenes in the show, at least with the best dialogue. I did not know that someone could hate someone so much that they don't want to exist in the same plane of existence as that person. So that was a very pivotal scene to show that Mirko is just an OG who fucking dropped the mic. There.
Good point, Brad, because Brinko has really been killing it on the last couple episodes.
Yeah. So she's been owning the show in a lot of scenes, I'll have to admit. And then we move on to, like you said, Blackthorn has grown from where we first saw him. It feels like for the previous 7 episodes, it's like all Blackthorn has really said in dialogue is, I want my ship and I want my men. I want my ship and I want my men. And he finally goes to get his men and he's like, I don't quite want you. I want to go back to my ship, but not with you guys. So I think that's very pivotal, showing just how much the culture has changed him and how much he doesn't like his past life. So I feel like that whole gamma right there that you just stated, very pivotal in all these characters, showing just, you know, how the power kind of structure and how they have to deal with the church. And then you have Mariko, who, you know, is a strong, independent woman who don't need Buntaro. And it goes from there.
Excellent. Thank you. Jeff, your thoughts, sir?
Well, I want to be clear. Black Ass could have fucking put it to Fuji episodes ago, okay? If he wanted to. All right? He is like, I mean, there's only 2 chapters left here, Blackfoot, Black Ass, all right? You better come correct or whatever, whatnot. If you're going to try to squeeze in a quickie with Fuji during the war or whatever, whatnot, during Crimson fucking Tide, or whatever the fuck it's called, Crimson Sky, you better fucking like work that shit out with your schedule real quick. But no, seriously, you're right. Brad made some really good points. Great, that was a great contribution, Brad. By the way,
Thank you.
You know, everybody's been really good in the show so far. But the church aspect, I was glad to have back in. I'm glad Justin mentioned that. It was good to see the church aspect brought back into the political intrigue of the show, because I felt like that was a really strong point for me for like the first couple episodes. I enjoyed that dynamic of the church's involvement in the storyline, that they could be another potential ally to Tornago, who we all are like supporting here. Let's be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want him to win, right? You know, we all like want to see Tornago come out on top. I think we all would agree. We're unanimous on that. Like, that's what we all want to see as an audience. We want to see Blackthorn succeed in some way, like, and like bang Rico again, you know, like Pillow again. You know, we want to see Fuji's breast exposed. Oh, maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. But either way, no, Blackthorn has grown. He's brought down his like expressionless faces where he doesn't know what's going on, where he's like, you know, during the show. He's brought that down to only 1 or 2 times a show. In the first couple of episodes, it was like 5 or 6 or 7 of those like type moments. So he's really like changed it up since then. But no, the scene where we are as far, aren't we, Cyber, as where he's met his men.
Yes, we're past that even.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sorry I missed my opportunity, but I'm just going to mention it. He's obviously lived it, as he mentioned in the show, in the episode, he's been with these people for several months. And he's immersed himself in their culture to where it's really affected him in his core. So he sees his shipmates and like his fellow countrymen differently now, right? You know, like having that brought to his right to his face was difficult for him. That's what drove his desperation even farther, right? Was that fear in him? I believe probably if you imagine yourself as his character, that fear of like, you know, who do I belong with? You know what I'm saying? Like, like I love this woman, right? You know that Blackfoot like really he would die for Tornaga. He would die for Tornaga. He's already said he would. So, you know, I love seeing his progression. And it was kind of overkill that he beat that dude's ass like that, though. He really beat the fuck out of that guy. Like, that was not necessary. I'm sorry, but like you could really fuck somebody up like that. Like, that was, come on, Blackfoot. You're slipping, bro. You know, as far as Omi in the episode had some strong points. In this chapter 2, you know, there was some Omi. Omi was really solid in this episode, right? He should be in the rankings for like a character that had an impact without question. But I felt like Toranaga got to a point where it wasn't even making sense at some points to me. I felt like they were trying to convey that to you as an audience, that he almost wasn't making sense. I don't know if that was him putting it on or whatever, whatnot, but I felt like he almost seemed indecisive almost, which is unlike him. And, you know, as far as the Buntaro crafting of the tea shit and everything with Mariko, it was well done. It was a beautiful scene. I do respect a lot Buntaro's love for her because it's real that he loves her. But, like, obviously, like, she don't feel the same way. Like Brad said, it's not reciprocal, right? And the fact that like, and that makes you wonder what's going to happen with him now. Is he going to fucking lose it? Right? Like, is he just going to kill Blackthorn now or some shit? Like, that's going to be what's going to happen in the next chapter? Or is he going to fuck up the Crimson Sky out of vengeance or some shit? Like, that's what the thing about the show is it inspires you to wonder with these characters what can happen. Bantero's been defeated a lot these last couple chapters. He keeps getting shut down and shit and whatnot. Right? Now he just found out his whole marriage is all bullshit. That's deep. So hats off to the actor that plays Montero. He's been really good. I really thought he's done a really good job. He's added a lot to the show besides the fighting and shit and whatnot. Besides that, now we've actually gotten to the point where Blackfoot has approached Yabu.
Yabushigi, you mean?
Yes, Yabu.
Yeah, they have that scene. Yep, that's in this portion I talked about. Yes,
that was a really good scene. I really enjoyed that. I really like Yabu Yoshiki and Blackthorn together. Their chemistry. Cosmo Jarvis and the actor that plays Yabu. Me and Yabu were tight, so since we were on the same loincloth, right? So I call him Yabu. No, he just has a bigger bulge than me, unfortunately. But no, seriously though, I love their chemistry. They're great. They're like the fucking Falcon of the Winter Soldier of Shogun. That's it, bitch. Okay, USA. Peace. Back in the game. Back in the game, baby. Let's do it.
Yeah, you've exceeded yourself there and made yourself back in running, sir. Good job. Still almost 60-minute man, but you're doing better. All right, Justin, your thoughts, sir, please.
All right, I think the opening section of this is when he's going for the firewood / coal. I feel like that scene really just kind of was supposed to point out how far he's come, because when the father comes up behind him, he's asking for firewood, and he's like, no, I'm asking for coal because it burns better, because he's been so involved in he's in wintertime. It's turning to spring, obviously, but he was in the wintertime, and so he's adapted to the ways and learned the way that they're doing things out in the fish village. And he's like, no, coal burns better. He remembers the word for coal, gets it. And so that's kind of like a one up on the father, saying you know what, you may have been the big dog because you were the outsider coming into Japan and being immersed in the culture, but now here I am. I really think that speaks volumes for Blackthorn and just his willingness to adapt. It makes him a far better you see him as oh, you actually were something in England, because you're if you're willing to do this now, in Japan, and learn what you're willing to learn right now, you must have been really good at what you did for the UK, and why you're striving to get back so much. And then moving on to the scene where the father is trying to talk to Toranaga, and Toranaga's just I don't trust a single thing you say now. I just thought that was I don't know. I actually audibly chuckled, because I was he's looking at him, and the disrespect to just go to Mariko and be I don't trust this guy anymore, knowing that he understands him, and knowing that everything that he says is he understands. Even though Mariko's translating, and he's I hear what Mariko's saying. I don't need this, but the disrespect that Toranaga is just throwing at him now, I just found that very comical, and I enjoyed it. And then the tea scene. Man, I've noticed that the scenes in this show that I've absolutely fallen in love with have been involving Mariko, and she has done such a tremendous job in the show. If you would have told me starting the show that the actress Anna Sawa, or I think her name is, if she tell me that she was going to steal the show after watching.
It's Sawai, Justin.
Sawai, Anna Sawai. If you would have told me that she was going to steal this entire show after I just watched Monarch, where she was probably the worst character in the show, I would have said you are out of your mind. But she has been lights out in this series, and the tea scene has been. It was another incredible scene, and the whole performance of the pouring the tea that Buntaro does, the way they focus on every movement, and then they give it to her. She says, your performance was well done. So she's humoring him to a point, only to drop this crazy diss on him. Buntaro's I remember our first year days were so happy, and then we know that
I remember the first time I punched you in the face.
Right, exactly. Well, yeah. In Mariko's point of view, she's like, no, there's like we saw the flashbacks of how she didn't want to go. Like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I'm miserable. I'd rather die. I want to die, that kind of thing. And so when he says, let's seppuku ourselves, she is like, you don't understand. Like, I wanted to escape you. I wanted to be as far away as possible as you. And if it means living thousands of more lifetimes to get away from you, then and I will do that. Even though the whole series, all she's wanted to do was die. That's the only thing she's talked about is like, I want to die because of what happened to her family. And it just the fact that she's saying like, I would live thousands of more lives to stay away from you is just so telling, man. Like it's like very big slap to the face. And just to close it out here, I don't want a minute man, a 60-minute man like everyone else, but no, I'm just kidding. But just to finish it out here, the Yabashigi and Blackthorn, like when Blackthorn comes to realization, like those my old crewmates, like they're not my people anymore. Like I feel like I'm part of the culture now. So then he goes to Yabashigi and he's like, we got to figure this out. We got to make an alliance somehow. And Yabashigi's like, I can't do that. I can't, like, it's too much of like potential for betrayal. And I mean, I don't know, just that scene alone, like it's like Blackthorn is kind of has a fire lit on him now. And he's like, okay, well, I know where my place is. I think that's partially why he beat the crap out of his old crewmate, because he was like, you are disappointing me because I sought after you guys. And I had this idea of you guys of going to you guys, but you disappointed me because you never changed. Like you stayed in your own ways. And now you're just like, you're the terrible quote unquote English foreigners that they see you to be. And so I think that's why he wailed on him so much, was because of the disappointment he had and the fact that they were still the same. But overall, it was a great segment.
Excellent. Thank you, Justin. Great job. All right, Rathacon, your thoughts.
So with the tea scene, I like the setting of the whole tea scene. It's peaceful, secretive, intimate. The way that both Maiko and Buntaro entered the place was really unique. Like Maiko just opened a hatch and just crawled into it. Buntaro opened like a secret door. Like I didn't expect that place, that wall, to have a secret door. So that was pretty cool. I will also say that when we see Buntaro making the tea, it was like taking a glimpse at how the ancient Japanese would make tea. Like they put a lot of research into how they made the tea, you know, all the things that, not only the ingredients, but also the tools. So bravo to the people that, okay, we got you, Jeff. Bravo to the creators that made that scene. And especially that handkerchief, like after he makes the tea, like he gives the tea to Maiko or Mariko, and then he pulls a handkerchief from his robe. And I don't know, I just found that unique because normally you would just give a napkin, but the guy gave like his personal handkerchief. So I'm not sure if it's like part of the ancient Japanese culture or tradition, or that's just him being a gentleman. So that's that. And let's see. Okay, when Blackthorn goes to the shipyards or the boathouse to meet his crew, a few things. Number one, just even before we see Blackthorn, like we just hear these 6 Englishmen like just making so much noise. And we learned that 6, you know, once he started talking to Solomon. One thing that popped in my mind was, as his cruise dies off, that's when he starts integrating more with the Japanese culture. Like it's like a correlation, not a causation, but it's just very interesting. And a thought I had was, okay, what if all of his crew members, including Solomon, just end up being dead in the end? So does Blackthorn end up being like fully Japanese or what? Does he still want to go back home and see his wife? Not only his daughter, but also his newborn daughter? Those are just some thoughts that I had as I heard that there are only 6 men left. Also, let's see, what else? And that's all I have. That's all I have.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Great job, sir. All right, Andres, take us out, sir, with your talking points on that section of the episode, sir.
Sure. Jeff, question. You just sent a photo in the chat just now. Just you and me.
I put a picture of our viewer count. It wasn't just a me and you. What the fuck? What, you think I got a crush on you, bruh?
No, you didn't show the reviews. I'm just saying you didn't show it in the picture. So
you can't see the views on there.
They're on the top of your guys' two pictures.
Yeah. Okay. I see. Never mind. I was creepy out about.
Yes, sir. I was taking a picture of you with my phone, like or whatever, whatnot. That's what I was doing.
God. I just want to make sure. I was like, are you becoming a slasher character from the 80s? Anyway, I already talked about the T thing. The Blackthorn meeting his whole crew was very cool. I wasn't expecting that. I thought they die. Like it's been so many episodes and many months that he's like constantly asking, "Where's my man? Where's my man?" And I always thought that maybe the Taranaka and those folks there around Blackbeard, like he was being lied to, that his crew actually got killed. I thought throughout the season, and the fact that they're alive, I was like, oh wow, they're alive, which I was kind of shocked about that. And it was a important scene. I think it just to show, as you guys say before, Justin, Brad, and Jasmine, and Cyber, and then Jeff, that it's a good scene of seeing Blackthorn's character progression over the last 7 episodes. Very impressive. He's been there for a very long time. As Justin said before, it's already, we're passing winter, but like he's been in winter, and he knows the kind of the in and out of like, okay, what need to use to like keep warm during the the winter season. So that was like a very crucial moment when he was when we see the priest again. And I think Jeff, you brought up a really good point. I did like the church stuff. I was kind of it was weird that this episode we got back to the church stuff here.
You like that church molestation stuff?
Whoa, what? What do you?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. My bad.
What the fuck are you?
It must have been an echo, sir. I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't a fucking echo. It was you literally saying fucking church molestation. What the fuck, man? Oh my
Andres
God.
is up to 50 fucks, so this is precedent for episode.
I'm sorry, folks. I usually serve my fuck.
Wait, you said 50, Cyber?
Yep.
Okay, so if Andre says more of those words, we can increase the viewer count past 50.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And there's also a new rule, Justin and Brad, just so you know. When our live stream view count gets to like record-setting numbers and shit like that, and whatnot on YouTube, you have to stay on the show for as long as we go. Like we'll you have to stay on.
No, don't.
Oh, we're up for it.
Oh my God, no,
I have nowhere to be.
If it just keeps going up, we just gotta go.
Let's ride the wave, man. Ride the wave.
Anyway, let's get back to topic. So it was a good thing to see that. I mean, first off, the guy was so unpolished. His mate, he was like he still had his curly hair. And his you think that they were taken care of, bathe and all that. I'm so surprised that Blackbeard actually looks clean throughout the season. I'm just shocked that his members have been just ridiculous. And Jeff, explaining to him, punching him multiple times. I was kind of surprised it wasn't bloody enough. I was kind of shocked he was like, still still alive a little bit. But yeah, so yeah, that was a really intriguing scene. It was really cool. And see the progression, and then of course see the priest again. Very intriguing stuff. I just didn't care about that part. I mean, the fact that we've gone away with the church, plot line since episode 3 or something like that. I was like, okay, that's fine. But the payoff was the best part when we see again the priest and he sees the land. I was like, oh yeah, that was very funny. We'll get to that. What else? I think I need to. Yeah, Jeff, you really fucking. So shut the fuck. You're being very rude, sir. Anyway, yeah, I think that's it. That's all I have to say. I mean, what else? I mean, listen. But I mean, I guess I was kind of surprised that Blackbeard, went to the general, ask him if he could join him. But yeah, we'll see if that will move forward when we saw the ending. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Andres. Good job, sir. All right. Yes, Jassim. We have sometimes talked about the private chat and mentioned it. So yes, we have shown that sometimes.
The private chat exists, folks, and it's very crude.
Yes, it is. All right. Excellent, guys. All great jobs. Everyone gets 5 million points for that great round. You guys all are rocking it. Good job. All right. So basically, that brings us to pretty much the last third of the episode. So the next portion we get to is we see the Coruscants pop up and go looking at their piece of land where they're gonna build their tea house on. Kiku, as we have seen, basically has been wanting to build her own tea house for years and has built herself up, as we've seen in previous episodes. And basically we get this nice little scene where it shows her and she's out there and it's the super muddy area, but she foresees how they'll build it and all this kind of stuff. And Yabashigi's nephew's out there with his Coruscant that he absolutely loves and adores. And as they're like looking at it and all that stuff, the father pops up, going to look at his piece of land that Toranaga agreed to give to him. And he asks, who are those people out there? And he's like, oh, those are going to be your neighbors. And he looks over and he's kind of like, oh, horrors are going to be over there. Oh, great. Right by the Church of God. Yes, wonderful. And you just kind of see the disappointment kind of on his face that, he's like, oh, I'm getting this piece of land where that type of unholy thing's going on. He's like thinking to himself, I feel. So I thought that scene was pretty funny. So after that, basically that's where we go to seeing Lady Dayon having a stroke and basically is in terrible health. And Lady Ochiba comes to see her. And basically they have kind of like this conversation where basically the Lady Dayon basically tells her that, let go of this childish dream. Stop thinking about this revenge and crap. Let the hostage go. And, for my dying wishes, please just stop doing this. It's not going to do you any good, basically. And she basically watches her alien health and, basically watching her die slowly as they showed. And after that, we end up getting that really great sequence where Yatsumutsu, decides to do seppuku because he disagrees with Toranaga surrendering. Basically everyone's there to sign saying they're going to surrender with Toranaga. And we have two of the army guys basically speak up to Lord Toranaga and say that they can't sign this and that, they still have fight left in them and that this is stupid and we shouldn't be doing this. And that they think that, what you're doing is wrong. And, and basically the conversation kind of goes back and forth between Toranaga and those guys. And then that's when Yamashita kind of speaks up and says, if you don't stop this foolishness, I'm going to commit seppuku. And basically Toranaga's like, if you've made your decision, do it. Die for all I care, basically. And the look on Toranaga's face, that whole scene is just really amazing. Like Hirohito Sonata just did such a great job. I mean, he looks so like disdained and so upset with him saying these things and being against him and stuff like that. And you could tell that at the same time, that Toranaga is really upset about this because this guy's been with him since he was like 12 years old. So this is a very hard thing for him too as well. And so basically they kind of go back and forth, and and Yamasato is like, okay, I'm gonna do it. And basically, takes his rope and pulls it apart, puts his fan down in front of him, and takes out his sword, and basically tells Baruto, who is his relative, to assist him. And so you can see the look on his face as he's called to do that, and he goes over. He's like, "Let me do this with you too, Father." And he's like, "No." He's like, "You will see that this person, that Toranaga, is not what he's saying. You got to stay strong for him, and you got to keep fighting with him." Basically, kind of reiterating kind of the thought process, like, "Oh shit, this is all a plan. I'm doing this to help push the cause forward," basically. And so basically, then we see Mashuto commit seppuku. He stabs himself in the stomach and starts wrenching himself, and then Baruto cuts off his head, basically finishing the seppuku. And so then after that sequence happens, that's when we go back to seeing Lady Ochiba watches as Lady Digamo basically dies. And we can kind of see on her face, whatever, Hiromashito, whatever the fuck his name is. And that old Asian guy, how about that? And so we see that, unfortunately, as that lady dies. And then after that, basically that's when we get the scene with Toranaga and Mirako. And basically, Toranaga asked Mirako, "What did you think about what happened? And do you think that what we did was wrong, etc." And Mirako's basically like, by explaining myself, it will do no good to the cause. It's what happened has happened. What is what is, basically. And then Toranaga basically goes into spilling the beans that this was all part of a plan, that my old general committed seppuku to basically show that I am at my dire straits, and that I have fully given up, and that this is a part of the plan to help move forward with Crimson Sky, basically, for the plan to work. And basically ask her, "Are you ready to play your part in this scenario?" And she says, "Yes, I am here to do my duty," basically. And so after that, that's when we go to Yabushigi and Blackthorn basically creating an alliance. Because after what happened with the general, Yabushigi, that was the turning point to make him decide to work with Blackthorn to go and do what Toranaga was looking for them to do, and to work together as an alliance. Kind of what Toranaga has been thinking this whole time since the beginning of the series. So basically they're on the boat. They are up on top talking, and Yabushigi's trying to tell Blackthorn that that he's his ally. And, of course, Blackthorn can't fully understand what he's saying yet, because he doesn't fully understand Japanese, but some he understands. And basically, Yabushigi basically says, a certain word several times, and is gesturing towards him, saying, we are this word. And he's like, and he gets it. And then we see Mirako at the bottom, and she's like, I have been asked to join you guys and be your translator. And so that's how the episode ends. It basically pans out, showing Toranaga's face, and that's the end. All right. So, guys, what did you guys think about the last third of the episode? Lots to go on there. I mean, that sequence there where the older Japanese gentleman kills himself.
Hiromatsu.
Whatever his fuck his name is. at this point, I really don't care what his name is. He's dead. And so basically that whole scene, which was probably a good 20 minutes long, part of the episode, almost. What are you guys' thoughts on that? What are you guys' thoughts on, basically everything from the point I started at to where I ended with how the episode ends? What did you think about those individual scenes? Was there anything that really appealed to you or really stuck out? When you finally see Toranaga mention that this is all part of his plan, what were your thoughts when he finally said that to Mariko? And just kind of your overall thoughts on Yabashigi and Blackthorn starting to work together and all that kind of good stuff. Let's start with you, Andres.
I'm so happy. Okay. When the general was going to say, I'm going to do the circle, I was like, hell no. He was my favorite character. And then I saw the blood and guts. I was like, no. And then the son had to cut his head off. It's like Game of Thrones. I was like, no. I was like, fuck me. What the fuck is wrong with you, Shogun? I was like, what the hell? I was like so shocked. And then, of course, when he say, oh, it was part of the plan, I was like, what? Are you kidding me? You allowed your general and now your son, I guess, as well, to motivate your army? I was like, oh my god. So that's what I mean, a roller coaster of this episode. I was like, okay, first off, I was like, okay, I was so bored. And then when we got to that moment, I was like, hell no, you're not doing that. Please don't. And then it was, and I was like, oh my god. So I was very sad that character would go. I thought the general was one of those intriguing characters in the show, and he's been supported of Toranaga, and the fact that this moment he just seeing this this person surrender didn't make sense. And so I was like, oh my god, this is really sad. And the son, and then the son is trying to be a hero, like, let me join you. Which actually I could have teared if he died as well. He's like, he's doing it because his father was going to do it. Well, that would be the moment I would tear Jasmine. But we didn't get that. He survived again. Yeah, so like that was a huge shocking moment for me. It really elevated this episode to again, top tier. I was like, oh my god. And the effects again was so great with the blood and the guts, and like it's so amazing. I'm very proud of the makeup and special effects and these depths. It's really impressive. It's top tier, I would say. Behind Greg Tigantio from The Walking Dead, and then Tom Savini, makeup and their works. It's incredible. So, yeah. What else? That was very was shocking. Oh, the funny moment when that we saw the lady again that runs the house. That was very funny to see the priest seeing that, and then he's like, "Oh my god, my church is going to be next to her business." That was very funny. That was the great payoff after we saw the priest again. But yeah, and then of course seeing the mom having a stroke, very, very powerful stuff, I would say. So I'm very intrigued about how she, like the villain, the lady that's pulling the strings, like how she's going to move forward. Is she going to pursue her revenge or not? But we'll see. I'm very intrigued where we're going to do that. So overall,
you're talking about Lady Ochiba. Yeah, Lady Ochiba, right? Like I'm curious if she's going to move forward with her revenge or not. But with it's not really revenge if you think about it, though, Andres. Remember, because Mariko said it's fear that is really her problem, not Toranaga. Fear. Well, we don't. I think Mariko thinks of that, but personally, Mariko knows her though. They grew up together.
Jeff, it's actually revenge though, because Toranaga did something to Ochiba's father.
He didn't really do it though.
But related though.
She doesn't know that though.
No, she doesn't know. Yeah, so I'm like, again, I'm intrigued if she's moving forward with the revenge or not. I mean, again, it's up in the air. Yeah, and so I'm very excited. When
again, after Toranaga say, "Oh, part of the plan is like Miracle is ready to do what." So I'm like very intrigued what's Murder going to do. She's going to kill her, which I hope it will, and she will make it all right. We can see more Miracle. So overall, I thought this episode ended such a big way. I was shocked. I feel exhausted after that circle scene. I was like, yeah, I'm done with this show. See you next week. So it was a wonderful section to really wrap up the war for the next 2 episodes, and I think we're gonna land pretty well with the show, which is good.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Brad, your thoughts, sir?
So for this pivotal scene with this group, Toranaga saying you all have to sign to surrender brings the most tension I think we've seen through most of this show. And not only do you have Hiramatsu, but you have Buntoro, his son, and then his grandson to witness basically this very, very big moment. And as I said earlier in the episode, it's very hard to be Toranaga's friend. Especially to that extent of loyalty, because this is all part of the plan. This is Hiramatsu basically getting those who are against Toranaga, against him, basically what he wishes, try to get them on his side and make them continue in that route. So his him actually committing seppuku actually blew my mind. I didn't think they were going to get that point. I thought Toranaga was going to say stop. You look at Toranaga's face, it's like tears are about to well in his eyes because he knows this is the game. This is the game that has to be played, and sometimes you have to lose your rook, your knight. And he slices his belly open. Buntoro seconds him, and then you go from there. But the fact Toranaga is able to keep composure throughout that scene just shows you how much this man can stand there and hold up his nation. That's basically what that scene shows. Then him going to Mariko and basically letting her in on the game. That's the next moment, because her job is basically to keep Yabushiga and Blackthorn continuing on their way and actually being in the battle. So she's keeping an eye on them. So this last part of the episode, probably one of the best in the whole 8 episodes.
Excellent, thank you. All right, Jeff, your thoughts, sir?
Again, great job, Brad. Everybody's been really great tonight and whatnot and everything. It's been a little bit of an off night for me, but it's good to see the whole team coming in strong. But I still got some bombs left to drop. So I'll put it to you this way. To riff off Brad, who's good to riff off, I think that it's only befitting and proper that it would be Hiramatsu that would be the one to seppuku in that situation, right? Because it is, you heard what he said, my one friend, right? My one real friend, like he said to him, whatnot. That was like a goodbye, right? From a friend to a friend, right? Like that's some, that's some strong shit. If it was like more Americanized, it might even brought man tears to me. But because it's feudal Japan, and they're so kind of emotionless about some of this stuff, right? But just like Blackthorn, you grow in the audience, and when you see these guys bullshit with each other, right? On Nagato's death and whatnot, and everything, bullshitting about it and making jokes and stuff and whatnot. When you see them drinking sake together, there's you commiserate with these characters almost. That's when they're like that. And I think that in general, it's very compelling that whatever that was, Ochibo no Kada's mother or whatever that died, or whatever that was, she'd already told her that it was a mistake to be aligned with Ishido, right? And that her better move would be to be with Toranaga, you know? And so she's a wild card. You know, it's hard to really read her and know what direction she wants to go with. You know, I mean, like, I doubt she's really going to follow through with Ishido and marry Ishido. I don't not see that happening. She seems like she wants her freedom, kind of, right? And I don't think she likes the shine that Ishido kind of has on her at all either. But in general, I thought that the actor, again, that portrayed Hiramatsu, his performance was outstanding, right? I mean, think about it. That was a great scene. Really well done. And again, the actor that plays Montero, seconding and seconding his own father, right? Like, that's some serious shit. It just shows you Montero and Hiramatsu's dedication to Toranaga and to the cause, right? And it really sets up that ending, man, when Toranaga's like reveals to Mariko, right? And like, you know, says, you know, finally has a chance to really like grieve over his son and say, you bought me time, you know, Hiramatsu, you bought me time. It touches you at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Crimson Sky now, bitch, right? Like, it's on, you know, like he knew Blackthorn and Yabu would be out there on the boat and shit and whatnot. I can't wait to see what he's going to do with them. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows Yabu and fucking Blackthorn are wildmen. Like, they'll fucking go out there and the fuck, right? Like, let's go. You know, when it boils down to it. So I can't wait, man. I'm excited. You know, my extremely tiny penis bulged as far out as it could at the end of the episode, thinking about chapter 9.
Do you have a ruler to show how long it went?
My Yabu loincloth extended out a little further than normal.
Do you have a ruler? Can you visualize it for us?
No, sir. You can't use a ruler when your penis is extremely tiny.
All right. Is that it, Jeff?
I believe so, yes, sir. Okay, USA.
Okay, USA, sir. Excellent job. 10 billion points for you, sir. Great job.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's go to Wrath of Khan now for your thoughts, sir.
Okay, so let's start with the empty land in Edo, the muddy plains. So, two things. Number one, I think it was smart for Toranaga to put the Willow World.
I gave you this to just so you know, I gave this to you, Jasmine.
You gave what?
Keep going.
Okay, it was smart for Toranaga to put the Willow World right next to the church, because Toranaga has been suspicious of the church for a long time, but also needs the church to fight against Ishido. So in the end, after Toranaga wins and everything's better, at least the Willow World is there to actually contain the influence of the church. Like, just having right next to each other, it's just great. You know, like, people will be less inclined to go to the church, more inclined to go and pillow with Lady Kiku and some other cuties. That was pretty smart on Toranaga. Another thing with that scene that I liked is when Kiku and Omi were talking. So they're talking about service, right? And in the end, Kiku was like basically saying like, my greatest pride is serving my mistress, and like how, like, you know, she likes to do the job that she's doing. And then in the end, it was so funny. Omi's like, I don't know what I'm fighting for anymore. Like, as if he's like, okay, I give up on Lady Kiku. Like, that was just funny right there. I just love that they put it out there. Hopefully, Omi just stays away from Kiku from now on. Okay, next up would have to be the temple, you know, where like all the people were fighting, the seppuku happened. When I first saw Hiramatsu contesting Toranaga and was threatening to do the seppuku, it reminded me of a moment on this live stream a few episodes back. I think it was after the landslide when Toranaga put a great speech, and TrueKnowledge famously said that he was so captivated with Toranaga that if Toranaga told him to do seppuku, he would do it. And when I see
please call me Jeff, sir. TrueKnowledge just makes me feel like some narcissistic, fucking selfish piece of shit or whatever, whatnot. Please call me Jeff.
Then why do you have it as your name?
It's a joke. It's an inside joke because I'm really not that smart.
Okay, I'll call you Jeff. Okay, Jeff.
Everything's an inside joke out of this bitch, baby. What's up? Let's roll.
Yeah. And you know, when I see like Toranaga like contesting the seppuku, like as if like trying to save his friend, I was like thinking, okay, if Jeff was Hiromatsu, I think he would be so excited to not do seppuku. So that's where Jeff and Hiromatsu differ. Just a thought. Just wanted to say it out there. And I also noticed in that scene.
So you actually watched Shogun and you imagine me in the fucking episode?
No, it just reminded me of the time when you're talking
about.
Holy
fuck,
Toranaga's so awesome.
Justin, that's some serious friendship shit right there, bro. Like, you know, dude sees me in Shogun.
Dude, it's a seppuku that reminded me of that live stream moment. It was a seppuku part.
Jeff killing himself is what brought this.
I hope you saw me in the Yabu fucking loincloth.
I did not envision you in the scene. I just thought about that moment, but it was really interesting.
Cyber certainly didn't see me in that moment because he's seen what I'm working with, so he knows I'm not Yamushiki it up.
Okay, but I really want to bring up this point though, that in that whole like seppuku scene, Omi was the only one crying in that scene. Everyone else was just shocked. Like Omi's just an emotional person. Let's just put it out there, but at least they put Omi crying. I like that. Like, Omi is more human than everyone else in that room. That's what I have to say. And finally, with Maiko and Toranaga, when it was nighttime, okay, Mariko did not know Hiromatsu did seppuku until Toranaga, spilled the beans. But what was interesting is the way how they were talking in the beginning, where I think it was Toranaga that said, the sound of rain on the leaves can be heard. Oh, no, that's what Mariko says. And then Toranaga says, still more fragile is the dew of tears on my sleeves, even in springtime. And then Mariko's like, waiting, the pine tree never withers in winter. And then Toranaga says, if I could use words like scattering flowers and falling leaves, that a bonfire my poems would make. That was just really poetic right there. Like, they first create that. Okay, I'm not looking at the private chat anymore. Okay, that was so poetic how those two were talking. You first create this serene, natural scene. You get our senses like activated, and then after that they create this melancholic or emotional tone about how
Did you say something about non-cock or like cock?
wait, what are you talking about?
Yeah, let Jasmine finish, please.
The part where they were saying still more fragile is the dew of tears on my sleeve, even in springtime. Like, that was a melancholic or emotional tone, whatever you want to call it.
Sir, Andres is falling asleep over there in the corner.
Describing how, just those stuff is just more fragile than the natural world, even amidst the renewal of spring. And then they talk about the resilience and steadfastness throughout the season. I'll forget the poetic stuff. I wrote too much about it. It's making Andreas sleepy. I'll move on from it.
This is the part where you just say...
I'll wrap it up. I'll wrap it up by saying, in the end, everyone gets what they want. Blackthorn got a shipping crew. Ishido got Uchiba, even though Uchiba thinks Ishido's ugly. Maiko gets to go with Blackthorn to a nice adventure. And Toranaga is in the position that he wants to be in. Question is, at what cost? We see him in the end thanking his son for buying him time. He also thanks Hiromatsu for buying him time. And overall, we just see that Toranaga's a great improviser, and everything continues to work in his favor.
No, Jasmine, continue on. You had really great stuff.
You should have said OK USA instead of all that shit.
So, Jasper, you officially have become 60-minute man, sir. Welcome to the club for that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I had to do it at some point.
At the same time, what the fuck did you do? Write a goddamn thesis or something? Like, Jesus Christ, bro.
Bro, the dude is imagining me in the fucking episode.
No, dude, I was remembered of that moment. Not imagine you. I never saw your face in the scene. Okay. Never imagined your face in that scene.
That's great, guys. Okay. All right, Justin. Let's get your thoughts on this, sir, to round out this episode, and then we'll plug and get the hell out of here.
All right. Yes. So the opening portion of this this section, when it's the open land, and there you see Jin and Kiko and Omi looking at the land. I thought that was cool that her perspective was she was very optimistic and seeing her dreams come true and like fulfillment, right? And then camera pans, pulls on back, Priest comes walking in, and he's just like, this is it, like this is what we got. And like just the two dynamics of like Jin is so thankful and so appreciative of what she has in the land that's beneath her feet, and then the foreigner Alvida, the priest, is like, okay, I guess I'll work with this, like this is it, this is all I get, that kind of thing. And then to find out that he's next to like the whorehouse, he's like, oh, you can see like he's like, this might not be too well, but at least I have land for my church. But anyway, I love the dynamic there, the fact that you could see the optimism and gratitude from Jin, and then the questioning, and like he's the priest was just like ungrateful, really. And then moving forward to when Hiramatsu, he really is an MVP, man. He did a lot for this first 8 episodes. He really has been like kind of a guiding force for a few of the characters, and just to see him go out like he did, I mean his son being the second man to take him out, like you guys said earlier, it was just hard to see. I was definitely a fan of him. He's not necessarily my favorite character, but he's up there. He's like probably top 4 for me.
He's a fucking glue guy, Justin. He's a glue guy, bro.
Yes,
he's
that's
like,
right. You're right.
Yeah,
he's keeping them together. That's basically what he's doing. But yes, so that was a rough scene. And you're right. I think Brad mentioned it was like about 20-minute scene, and like there was so much to take away from that. And then to only follow it up with Toranaga talking to Mariko about like there's a bigger plan at foot here, and he needs her to be ready, and just and like her willingness to like, okay, like I'll go for it, I'll do it. It was just, I mean, her undying loyalty is completely like seen in this scene, and the fact that her and Buntaro, like she doesn't have anywhere near the respect that she has for Toranaga for Buntaro, and that's her husband. I just thought that was comical to put those two together. And I will say the Ochiba and her mom scene, I thought that was interesting where they placed it in the episode, because we got earlier them talking about making an alliance with Ochiba, and then the mom now has got that gear turning in Ochiba's mind, because Ochiba's like, I mean, did I make the wrong decision? And after her mom tells her Toranaga was the safer play. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And then all of that culminating to what the heck is Yabashigi and Blackthorn about to do right now. And it's going to make for episode 9, like it's going to be bonkers, dude. It's going to be probably one of the most insane episodes in television we've had in the last couple of years here. So I'm very excited for this episode 9. And I think it's going to be action packed. And I don't think we're ready. Honestly, I don't think we're ready for this.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. All right, folks. So that is episode 8 in a nutshell. I want to thank you all for listening to us all babble for the last 2.5 hours. So I'm going to give it over to Jeff to plug us out and get us the hell out of here.
Are we going to do ratings or what?
No ratings. Never.
I like to rate the episode, sir, or the chapter.
Then you can do that, sir, then.
Okay.
I'll give that.
You'll toss
the
to me.
honor to.
You'll toss
honor
to me.
you. Yes.
Okay. All right. Jassim, send me in the private chat the link you sent me on Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
We can pull you up. Okay. But all right, ratings. All right, I'll go to you first, Justin. What's your rating on Chapter 8?
I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 8.75. That's what I'm gonna give that.
All right, Brad.
I'll give it the same thing I gave it on my show, 9.5 out of 10.
Okay. Andre the pop culture guy.
9 out of 10.
Wrath of Khan.
8 out of 10.
Cyberneticshark, sir.
10.
How many 10s is that in Shogun now, Cyber?
Every single fucking episode.
Oh, jeez. All of them?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Jeff's first F word. I mean, sorry, Cyber's first
I
F
knew it was a lot of 10s, but I didn't know it was every episode. Holy shit. So did I do a good job picking Shogun? I did, right?
No. You did a horrible job.
Okay. All right. I'll give the episode a 9.25. Very solid. Very solid, building up to what I believe is probably going to be 2 wonderful wrap-up episodes to kill this miniseries off, unfortunately. No season 2 on this bitch, sadly. Right? So we have to fucking just enjoy what we got. It's unfortunate. I'm almost dreading watching this shit when I go to watch it because I'm like, I know this is going to end.
There is another book, though, that for 200 years later. So they'll probably do that.
All right. So, plugs. All right. We got everything in here. Good show, everybody. Great job. Let's give everybody a clap. We've got 58 live viewers on YouTube right now. What's up, folks? It's good to see all of you. We're happy that you're all here and whatnot and all that. I hope you all enjoyed what we did here. We tried to entertain you as best we could. Some of us did a better job than others, right? Brad was really strong. His first appearance of the show. He kind of held it down for me, kind of like, kind of kicked it over on my end because I was a little off. But that's okay. Wrath of Khan did a good job. I'm just pop culture guy was steady and jumped the gun on the first question right off the jump as always, and talked about the end of the episode right off the bat. And Cyberneticshark did an excellent job moderating. Great job keeping it down to 2.5 hours, sir. All right. I will start off with Brad. How do you like to be pulled up for plugs? I've got your YouTube pulled up. You want your podcast too?
Yeah, sure. It's generally just thenerdcore.com, and then you can go from there.
Okay, well, I've got your YouTube pulled up. Hold on one second. Yeah, you want me to pull up your website, you said?
YouTube's fine. They can find us on YouTube at the Nerdcore.
All right, sir. Do you have anything you want to do? You want to plug anything here? Do you want to talk about your channel? Take your time.
Nerdcore. We review televisions, movies. We're going on our 8th year this year, so plenty of episodes for everyone to watch and listen to. So give it a look-see, and if you want to go to our Patreon, patreon.com/thenerdcore, we appreciate it. But yeah, we review everything from Invincible, Shogun. We do WrestleMania watch-alongs or wrestling watch-alongs. So we got a whole lot of content.
I was on one of these too. I came over. I was on Shogun. One of these episodes.
I think it was episode 5 or 6. Nope. Maybe 7.
There I am.
There you are.
There you go, folks. I was on there. See? Full collaboration. Brad came over. I went over. Thank you, Brad.
Thank you, Jeff.
We
Thank
appreciate
you, everyone.
it, brother. No problem.
This was fun.
Oh, it always is, brother. All right. I'm just pop culture guy, sir. What's up, baby?
Hello, everyone. This is Andreas Pop Culture Guy. This is my channel, Channel Presents. This recently posted my top 10 favorite X-Men characters. Soon, we're leading up to Deadpool and Wolverine in July, so putting some X-Men content right now. Just recently put out my X-Men 92 comic read part 5, the final chapter, so check that out. And this Sunday, me and Jeff are back again to do a live stream review on Chucky. Season 3, we're going to review part 2 of that series, episode 5 and 6 together. So we're going to review those 2 episodes together. And please check us on this Sunday coming up at 9:35 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Hey,
so
we did good. We did really good on Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, it's a powerful movie. Maybe it's the trailer that we put out. I think it was the Beetlejuice trailer we did there. So anyway, thank you everyone. Please support me and Cyber hit that mark for this year for 2024. And yeah, let's keep it up.
All right, World Geek Podcast. Would you like me to pull up your actual podcast?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Justin, I will.
Yeah.
All right, you go ahead and get started. I'll pull you up.
Yeah, Royal Geek Podcast. I mean, we cover all things nerdy and geeky. I mean, we love Marvel and DC, and we cover a bunch of Star Wars stuff as well. So we also like to have a little fun on there as well, and we do like top 5 fast food French fries, or top 10 cereals, or we do brackets and drafts, and yeah, we're just kind of like the average Joe podcast, like where no one's going to be an actual like expert at anything, but we're going to have a great time while we talk about it. We're doing X-Men 97 right now. Obviously, you guys are too. It's been a wild ride, especially that last episode 5 was, man, what a banger.
Are you going to have me over for an episode review or what?
We were actually talking about having you over for like one of our like top 10 episodes of Marvel content. So I'll get with you on that and the details.
Oh, boy,
it'll be fun though. Yeah.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, we'll link up on that one. But yeah, so check us out. It's me and 2 other co-hosts. It's me, T-Roll, and then you guys have not met Shimano yet, but hopefully he can make an appearance. Shimano's our brain. He's our guy with the big brain. And T-Roll and I are just there to have a great time. So
I'm sure you already told me he's welcome to come on, Justin.
Oh yeah. He's just got a busy life. That's all. he's almost barely got time for us, but he's a good guy. But yeah, check us out, Royal Geek Podcast.
Excellent. All right, Rathacon, let's see what you got going on here, sir.
This will probably be the very first plug I ever have on your show.
All right,
so
the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so basically this Substack that I recently started, it's just mostly focused on economics, just carrying a view that is different than the consensus. So this one that you see is my favorite article that I wrote, which is talking about how Europe is actually an economic miracle. Read more about why. You'd be surprised by like how Europe has done so well throughout all this time.
Oh, Jasper, you made me want to get back in the game.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these thoughts, they've been going on for a while, but I decided, you know what? I'm going to start writing them, put them all in written form, and let the world enjoy it.
Folks,
so mostly
just so you know, I met Jassa, believe it or not, covering things like economics and the stock market and whatnot and everything back in the day. That's how we met each other. So a little inside baseball knowledge and whatnot here on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. That's how I met Jassa.
Yep, that's all I have to say.
He knows his shit. That motherfucker's been making content since he was like 15 years old.
But consider all my content opinionated. Do not take it as actual advice.
Okay, sir, whatever you say. All right, Cyberneticshark, sir, you are up last. I do not feel like pulling up any of my massage parlor plugs for myself, so I'll go right to you, sir.
All right. Anyways, folks, if you enjoy me as a moderator on the panel on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, you can definitely go check out my solo content. You can find me under Cyberneticshark on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X, Threads, pretty much anywhere there's a social media platform. I'm pretty much on it. My main hub, of course, is YouTube, where you can find me. Huge shout out to Middle Age Podcast. Was on there last night with them to review the great 1984 film Beverly Hills Cop. That will be coming out on their channel around May 4th. So keep an eye out for that. I was on that to talk about
Congratulations,
that.
Cyber.
So, yeah, so that was fun. And so, yeah, definitely check that out. As you can see, my most recent trailer reaction there is up. Definitely give that a whirl. Or my most recent Ghostbusters Frozen Empire review. I will be having more reviews and more trailer reactions up for you guys. There's a lot of movies that have been popping up for new releases. You got Alien Romulus and, you know, more stuff like that. So keep an eye out for that stuff. And, yeah, you'll be seeing more from me soon. And just thank and shout out to all those that have brought me over to the 1,000 mark. And so on to the next mark of 2,000. So let's make that by the end of 2024.
Oh, and honestly, Cyber, again, shout out to you. You did a great job moderating tonight. But I just wanted to mention we did set a live stream record tonight for YouTube. We're up to 58 live views. Like I said, if we kept on going, guys, if we kept going for another 2 hours, we'd probably be at 100 something. I don't know what we talk about, you know, but we make it.
Andreas has a lot of topics.
Andreas, pop culture guy, yeah, he's got some shit. But anyways, folks, no, the only plug I do have is that on Friday we're doing our Doom Part 2 review, right, at 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:35 p.m. Pacific. We are doing Doom Part 2 with drinking games, so there's always a good chance that I can be totally hammered or Cyber might get hammered. Who knows? Saturday, we're doing Fallout Episode 2 at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, live on YouTube, you know, our home base, X, Rumble, Facebook Live, our Facebook page, Twitch, you know the deal, baby. We're the MCU'S Bloody Edge on all our socials. We're getting after it on Monday. Andres Pop Culture and I on the MCU'S Bloody Edge Report are going to be covering X-Men 97 episode 5. And then we're also going to be doing like an MCU, DCU, gun DCU / update kind of, since we've had some interesting news come out in like the last week or so. So that's what we have coming up.
Yeah, the Kent parents have been cast, so that's pretty good.
Well, Gunn said that they have the scripts completely done for the Authority and Supergirl and for Superman. Or Peacemaker. I'm sorry, not Superman, Peacemaker too. So
yeah.
They started filming season 2 of Peacemaker.
There you go. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody on the show tonight. It was a long one. God bless you. We'll see you next time. And peace out. If I can find the actual outro.
Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Nobody's safe. Soon as we step out the cage, we raising all of the stakes. Make no mistake.